And we should be live momentarily. Hello, everybody. We're back on Ratchet Deadlocked. And I am so glad autosave exists because I forgot to figure out how to save in this game. Oops. That could have been bad. But whatever, it worked out.
Can everybody hear us okay?
I don't think anybody's in the chat yet.
The Avenger Tournament.
Yeah, and Cure Crystal, and there was much rejoicing. Yes, they are, they can hear us.
Alright, awesome. Today's stream is sponsored by Heat Tap. Media Hood's here.
Yeah, and also me continuing to design things. It's like, latest design, I have gotten wrist strap stands figured out. It's just a matter of me elevating them enough so when I produce the emblems for teams and characters that it's visible underneath.
Come on, Clank. Can't I just enjoy the moment?
Do you realize how many other heroes they have killed?
Yes.
Watch this.
And now for a Vox News action update.
The new season of Dread Zone is underway.
20 goddamn
and on pace
years.
To break ratings records once again. This year's contestants include the notorious mafia crime boss known as Ratchet.
20 goddamn years and spoofing of the
And to
parodies.
think that other networks actually call him a hero.
It's truly sad, Dallas. Other notable contestants include Ratchet's ruthless robotic accomplice, Clank.
I heard
Never
Clank
did like
eat
the look of him,
babies.
Juanita.
The funny thing is, like, this was around the time that Transformers Energon was airing, so they could have literally done the giant horns from that as a spoof reference.
Champion Ace Hardlight. Last season, Ace shocked the galaxy by terminating a record 13 contestants, including Captain Starshield, the Brown Ranger, and Mad Monkey McKnight.
Dread Zone's 6 trillion fans are in for some unbelievable action over the coming weeks.
They certainly are, Dallas.
Pure Crystal, okay, so who heard about what happened with the creator of Megas XLR?
When I was a kid.
Mad?
He was
Very
the
mad.
Famous hero who disappeared.
Yeah, for those who don't hear about it, Megas XLR, we thought for the longest time that it was a tax write-off. Turns out, no, Megas XLR made its money back. Warner just never didn't want to do anything with it. A reboot was apparently in the works, and then Zaslav murdered it.
I need that man flayed alive.
Flames, side of my face. It's like when I read about that last night, I literally posted a Disney Hades blue flame going red flame mad gif.
And the hurting, but I have a new bot upgrade for you.
It's like it's like nothing that man touches that was good lived to tell the tale. So mad. Like absolutely so mad.
The Arbiter.
And
And
you
you got
for a
a
wrench upgrade. I don't have enough for a freeze mod, considering how effective that is. Here, Crystal, who's worse, Zaslav or Shirakura? Zaslav at this point.
Like-
Zaslav destroys things that have potential that he just doesn't arbitrarily like. Shirakura creates... Okay, they're both bad in their own ways. Shirakura is destructive to other IPs with his own arrogance of thinking he knows how to make them better. Zaslav just doesn't see the potential of anything of actual merit.
like, how should I put? Like, honestly,
They both failed upwards.
they both failed upwards, but I want to act. From my personal opinion, I think Zaslav is worse. Not to say Shirakura is more innocent, but with Shirakura, there's at least years where we don't have to deal with his BS.
Or his disciples BS, yeah.
Right, like, so there are definitely times where we can just ignore him, and he won't necessarily go away, but he can be ignored. With Zaslav, his decisions have permeated throughout so many different properties and ideas and people that, like, how is this man not ousted already? Do you realize the fact that Warner Brothers Discovery is splitting back up into two separate entities.
Solely because of his own incompetence.
Right, like, no matter how bad Shirakura gets, at the end of the day, I can just watch better things from Toei. I can just...
Or we can skip a year.
Exactly. But with Zaslav, you can't. You know what I mean? And again, that Megas XLR thing, that pushes it over the edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Megas XLR had hit a special spot between laughing at giant robot stuff, but also fully embracing stuff.
Yeah, it's that comedy series that still treats the material with seriousness.
The fact that the Megas has a Yamato wave motion gun and the Super Dimension Fortress Macross
and those references feel appropriate because it's still the normal level of cartooniness that fits in all around it. Golden Guard, they're actually downsizing WB because of how bad he's screwed up, or at least splitting into two divisions. Yeah, Discovery is still getting a few things from Warner that they're keeping, but it's basically undoing the merger and then splitting the debts that Warner was laden with from the purchase, which, like, this is billions of dollars of debt that shouldn't have happened, and only did because AT&T decided to buy Warner in the first place. Like, that is the root cause of all this. Just the 2017 AT&T buyout of a company that was doing much better before AT&T got involved. And then AT&T saddling them with the debt from the buyout because AT&T itself was in financial ruin. And then, why is it a thing that when companies are in financial ruin, they make things worse by building upon that with another purchase? It's like it never works. Never.
But on Laser Lord says, on a brighter note, Spaceballs 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact Rick Moranis and Bill Pullman are involved, I am so totally behind that. Rick Moranis, because he stopped acting to take care of his kids after his wife died, so the guy is of major merit on that. It's like, caring for your family enough to, like, I don't want to say tank your career, but put your career on hold for them, like, big props to the guy for that. So anything he comes in to do, I want to see do well. Especially because, like, those sorts of parodies, appropriately done, like, you don't see them anymore. You get the movies because, I'm forgetting his name. I'm forgetting his name.
is history.
Question for Alexis. Once a month. Have you heard music from non-binary British artist Sam Smith? No, I have not. I think they did the theme for one of the James Bond films, but like honestly, most of the time, like my music choices is a rotating list of classic rock, Japanese anime and toku songs, some dance mix, some Eurobeat in there, maybe a little bit of country, but like a lot of more modern artists like Sam Smith just kind of fly under my radar. No disrespect towards them by any means. That's just my wheelhouse.
A little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. Shoot, I'm gonna... Yeah, timeout. Try it again. Didn't realize I was under a time limit until too late.
Kill them all.
Crush, kill, destroy, swag.
Okay, can I do that? I always love it when you shoot the dropship. It's so funny, right? Like, we're gonna land here and we're gonna be all fine instead of fucking...
Don't forget to order that Red Zone home game.
There we go. Much better. Ladies and lords, so I finished 1,000 Yamato. They said they got last week, and those latest turrets are painful. They are. I highly suggest putting it in a container or something and not touching it. Probably mount using a bit of like non-permanent glue, like Elmer's, to glue it to the stand, because it is so easy for the thing to fall apart on you without you even realizing. I know it from experience. I got the kit a while ago. It was seen in my Super Robot Wars V videos when I compared it to the just sheer gigantic size of the Neo Zeon kits. It's still an awesome kit for them to make something of, but it's just with how tiny it is, it's just too fragile.
I feel like there are some things that you can get away with.
I think that need to be a supersized kit to be more appropriate, even if they were gonna do like other Yamato kits in the model. It's like just like how much that's fragile.
Like have one that would be like a bit super scale. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Fun. Those dual Vipers are nice, but not as cool as you can say those
dual guns.
Dual guns, yeah.
Like I think this is around Halo 2 gave you ability to dual wield, and then everybody won with just SMG and the Needler, the double tapping.
Halo 2 machine
Or was
gun.
it a Needler and a handgun? One of the, it was some of the combinations. Or was it like the laser pistol with pop shields and then a direct headshot with the head handgun? Something like that. Something like that, which actually happened. I played Halo 2 a long time ago. Sucked at it because FPS, but I remember that making it so much easier. And also playing as the Arbiter dual wielding was really, really fun.
What was Garo? Also, remember when you guys were postulating a Western SRW game? Looks like the Doomslayer could be in it twice over thanks to getting an actual mech in the recent Doom game. And, like,
Again, my thing with any Super Robot Wars game is you need to have explicit power armor to a level which you can actually handle that within the Super Robot Wars scale, or you need to have more than just a piloted mech. You need to have a story that is more about the mecha in general.
But then again, I could imagine that, like, okay, here's a question. Question for the chat in here. How far could the Doomslayer get in a Get a Robo setting?
Like, Shinta is one of those that works because there's all that mecha shifting that the Simple Gear armors do.
Also the fact, and let's not forget that time in okay, blowing up, punching a hole through the K2 was already an insane feat that not a lot of mechs would do in the first place. But the fact that in the opening of the Simple Gear AMC, all three of them collectively blow the shit out of a giant airship.
Yeah, it's like Stride also applies to that because you get like evolving armors and weapons and people creating mechanical creations with their minds. That one more than easily applies to all of that. But a lot of things that just have like cybernetic suits or like Mjolnir armor or Starship Trooper stuff, that don't quite fit. Granted, Starship Troopers does have power mechs in it, so that one's a bit more applicable, but not everything. And they're pretty recurring, so that one's fine, but unless it's like ubiquitous, I don't think it applies as much.
According to HJ5, the mech that Doomslayer pilots in the most recent game is Jaeger class. You know, from Pacific Rim.
Yeah. It's like the most recent game is like the one that just released.
Yeah, the Dark Ages.
Yeah. I thought it was a movie or
like if I were to do like quick Western and
It's like, I don't know enough about Doom, but it's the fact that it's like, it's not ubiquitous in the series. That's my main thing.
right, which is, I think is fair. Like, I feel that even, like, there are some series that could easily be in a Super Robot first game and should be there, and others that I think you should relegate to, like, hitting a longer cameo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, my thing with the Godzilla inclusion is the one they're doing it with, it has, like, the one mech with the Jet Jaguar thing. It's like, I don't feel like that's enough.
Well, apparently that Jet Jaguar can actually size change, and it's a plot point that it can do that.
Yeah, because Jet Jaguar could do that because it was kind of Ultra Series based.
Yeah. Hey, do you want platforming?
Why would you do this to me, Insomniac?
Come on, Davis. Give it a jump.
The experienced beige.
DJ Choku. Also, I wanted the next SRW game for Lucian Paladin dunk on the Black Knights from CP Freedom. Oh, like, okay, yeah, like, that is something that needs to happen.
Mainly because Jun Fukuyama was in that movie.
Like, I really want the, like, Illusion hit Black Knights to roll up and be like, oh!
Am I a joke to you? I am gonna die here.
Hey, look, you did it! Hey, now I knew it. I had a feeling that was coming.
Eight.
I'm not laughing at you, I'm just... Okay, I'm a
No,
little...
you are, but...
No, I am. It is one weakness, everyone.
Platforming, my one weakness!
You're gonna get $1 million. Alright, cool. What do I have to do? You just have to complete this platforming course in a video game.
Well, it's not in real life, but never do it.
Welcome to Wipeout!
Have you ever seen the Diablo in the pale moonlight? I have, and it's fantastic!
Like, at the end of the day with Super Robot Wars, like, just because the series had a mech in it, I don't think that should be the instant qualifier for it to be in a crossover game. Like, I think on Phil's singular point, reason why, because it's not just Jet Jaguar, they're letting Godzilla be in it as like a rogue Asian. I think that's what they're gonna do, which I can see a lot of story potential for them. Like, consider like all those other bad guys in a mecha series, like having carefully laid plans, like, oh, we're gonna do this, this, and this, but they're just
And then Godzilla shows up.
right, like, Godzilla is the one neutral party that you cannot rationalize with, you cannot reason with. He will show up and rock your house.
What if Godzilla becomes a playable character?
Okay, if he does, that would be a dream come true.
The thing with that is, like, give me Kiryu, give me Cyber Ghidorah,
Like,
give me Mothra as an ally in all this.
like, we will have to see how Super Wars Y handles it.
Like, maybe if they're using it as the leverage for the entire Kaiju-verse to come in, I'm okay with it. It's just like the lead-in from that is a bit tough.
So, apparently, like, this Godzilla is connected to a higher dimensional entity, like this specific Godzilla.
Yeah, but they could easily tease that in with the Get Around stuff and
Right.
any other angle they want.
Yeah, I mean, you are including Getter Arc, and that does wind up ending with them facing against the Emperor or a likeness of the guy. So.
Plus, you know, you have the dinosaur people from the original Getter continuity in there, so it's like they could be worshipping Godzilla as a god, as something of their species that evolved to handle Getter radiation.
Yeah, exactly. So, like,
There are ways to justify just like the way they lead into it, the series they're using to lead it.
A week later, Ratchet got drunk and crashed his tanker into the ocean world of Aquados. Who can forget these graphic images of baby seals smothered in radioactive waste? Little Coco, never never had a chance.
How could you? What did little Coco ever do to you?
What?
Al, how can you believe these ridiculous lies?
No. I was just, you know, I mean...
Come on, guys. We need to get out of here before we all wind up dead. What's the plan?
I have been chatting with a tech droid on the operations level. She may be able to provide the blueprints for these deadlocked collars.
M66, so
That's
like
great.
Ghidorah from
But we
Godzilla
must be
Earth.
very careful.
Ugh.
Fox
Yeah,
has eyes
let's not talk
everywhere.
about that.
Let's not talk about the contender for worst Godzilla media out of Japan. I say out of Japan because I still fucking hate the first Web Trade film so much. So much.
Oh, speaking of which, should we, after the stream, should we pre-order wine?
Ratchet, I've seen
I did
assorted
that.
Oh, you did that
I
already?
did that a week or two ago.
Oh, I didn't realize you did that.
Yeah. I thought I would, you know.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, that's my bad then.
Listen, all I'm asking for Super Robot Wars Y is I want Callan to have an encounter with the Valkyrie idol members and have her be roped into some shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Like, the pilot Mirage, like, running into a room. Callan, you gotta help me. They're after me. Who's after you? Oh, there you are! And it's like, oh no. Callan flashes back to the days of Ashford Academy with Millie, and it's like...
Acid or ice?
Okay, ice, but you're legally allowed to play Ice Ice Baby if you so wish.
dangerous than your combat bots.
I
Bring
just,
'em
I
back to
said,
my shop
dare.
and I'll give 'em some upgrades.
I dared, and I...
Your dread point score now allows you to advance to planet Shar.
But yeah, like, not just Robot Wars, but with any crossover, just because I can mash up two things together doesn't mean they will exactly work well together.
Yeah, just because you can doesn't mean you should. That's kind of my limit with, like, put anything robot into Super Robot Wars. It's like, anything can qualify, not everything should qualify. Anything with mecha, I should.
Tonight on Red Zone, Team Darkstar embarks on a journey through the hallowed grounds of Planet Shar. What was once just a boring
That's why I
historic
feel like
temple
if
is
you're
now the
going-
centerpiece of
like,
this
if-
explosive new
like,
battle course. Ratchet will
some
have to complete
series
some
should
of
be
Dread Zone's
relegated to
deadliest challenges ever,
freaking
just to
DLC
gain entrance
cameo
into the main
appearances,
temple. But even
and
if
not
he
like
survives that
full-on
far, no contestant this
tentpole.
season
Make
has
them
come
one-off
out of that
DLCs.
temple
That's the thing
alive.
you do with that. You don't do series that are supposed to and have the content for a full story, as
You can use
drove
the
us
charge
nuts with
moves for
30.
quick bursts of speed.
A win today will keep Team Darkstar in the running for a shot at the
Like, you
championship
could, in
title
theory,
and
put a
ace
Xenoblade
hardline.
into a Robot Wars game, but,
The action has begun,
like,
folks.
Xenoblade
The
is
wind
its own
blowing and the
massive
snow is
thing,
falling. This
so
is perfect
if they're gonna be,
summer
if
weather.
you wouldn't have include Xenoblade into your own game, this had to be a one-off and be a cute, tongue-in-cheek, like, how do we get a Gears, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I want to know is how Ratchet uses the bathroom in that suit.
Here's something. Is the rule that you can also find shipping? Oh, absolutely with shipping. Like,
We've made complaints about that as well. Like, CC is an example of, you can do this, you shouldn't do it.
or, like, when I first encountered people who shipped Gilgamesh with Saber from Fate,
It's like, that's a toxic relationship.
that is, like, so toxic.
It's
Why,
like
why would you do that?
You literally have to change everything about Gilgamesh's character for it to make any form of sense.
The temple has been divided into 3
Oh,
sections.
does it
separated
know?
by
Well, I'm
impenetrable
in a more
force
chipper
fields.
mood
To
than
advance,
usual because
Team
Baseball
Darkstar will
and
have
Ronin
to
Warriors
cut
are
the
back,
power to the
baby.
force
I love
fields.
Running Warriors. I gotta show Alexis the series. I really, really do. I've got a Blu-ray. But I'm happy that's happening. I am so very happy that's happening.
I manifested it. I'm calling it. I manifested it. Like, if you don't follow my Blue Sky, a few days ago, I mentioned, somebody asked me, hey, have you seen Ronin Warriors? Like, which is better, Ronin Warriors or Saint Seiya? And I said, I haven't seen Ronin Warriors, so I can't say for certain, so...
Like, the dub is dated, but I don't think it's bad.
Right, so, but I said, have to mention that I need to see it. A few days later, suddenly Sunrise out of nowhere drops, oh, here's the sequel anime.
And like, how does that keep happening? I see we need to watch Spice and Wolf, and suddenly Merchant Meets the Wise Wolf happens. We still need to watch Merchant Meets the Wise Wolf.
Yeah. Also, that collector's edition manga omnibus looks Spice.
Oh, I didn't know that was happening.
No, you like the post of stuff, but basically...
That's been a while ago.
Yeah, because Death Press is releasing a collected omnibus of volume like their hard cover thing, and I'm like, oh man, there's so many cool mangas and Star Wars I want to collect, but I don't have the space.
You can also perform rapid lateral jumps in order to evade enemy fire.
Yeah, I missed this was an thing.
Carnage! This is the Red Zone, folks!
Okay, gonna have to redo this one. Whatever. Don't worry. J-Pop to interact with UC and Super Road Wars. I think it might be a new preceding canon for Super Road Wars for how it's doing everything.
Okay, we're not watching it, but if that is a decent greater plan in mind, I'm okay with that. I legitimately have no problem with seeing a series that gets UC being a Robot Wars game. The main issue that me and Des have is that it's the same story over and over and over and over again in Robot Wars, to the point of like predictability and also the fact that they keep doing the same thing with it. They don't.
We've been over this a lot. You need to exclude the UC timeline from the Robot Wars entries to give it distance. And allow other series to have focus and attention without these superseding details making it more difficult to tell stories with them. Like, you're excluding Victory Gundam from this newest Super Road Wars because when they did that series in 30, it caused so many problems.
But with G-Con, they're at least doing things differently enough that people, even people who are fans of the UC timeline, are stumped as to where the story would go.
Because it's kind of acknowledging that, oh hey, the Federation are kind of the villains.
And apparently, because of recent episodes, there's a commentary on people like doing really horrifying things for people that they only just met, and people getting gaslit and committing greater and greater atrocities.
And it's like, you shouldn't be doing that. You just met them.
Right, but like I think the story is acknowledging, like purposely pointing this out.
Yeah. Like, if commentary again on the original series, which, as is my thing, every AU timeline series is a critique or pointing out something that the UC timeline itself kind of failed or didn't do properly in its own way. It's not necessarily saying those series are bad, but just that these are deficiencies with the original stories because of Tamino. Primarily because of Tamino.
However, a spider walk is.
Let's just pray we don't have any more wardrobe malfunctions.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, I get the stylization. I'm not a big fan of the stylization.
and honestly, like, I'm not either, but I don't think, like, honestly, the most recent one that they revealed that kind of looks like the Ava Unit 1 in color scheming, I kind of like how
Yeah, it's like, when you think about it, all of those little platelets on it don't make as much sense considering these are supposed to be, you know, military designs. They're supposed to make it easy for parts to be functional and swappable, which, again, is why I consider the scene designs that they're so much better. They're angular and stylized in a way that makes logical sense for a military to actually do to make them. That's always been an issue with the UC design to an extent, because in how organic they are, you don't really see how a company could make them for military purposes.
It sounds pedantic, but when you get invested into a setting, you can't help but think about these things. Like,
Yeah, because like Anaheim Electronics is a legit company in the Universal Century timeline, and it's the one that makes a lot of the Gundam units that mass produces mobile suits. It's one of the primary suppliers, and it don't make sense for them to be like making designs that can't functionally work in an engineering sense, which has been a long-standing problem with a bunch of UC designs.
DJ Scope was really a bad Gundam fan for not being interested in Deep-Rock. No, they're not a bad Gundam fan.
Like, you just like choose to not watch it. Some people chose to not watch Gundam 00 for some reason. There are people who have never engaged with build series. I, for a long time, skipped Iron Blood Warface.
And, like, just because you don't engage with every single aspect of a franchise does not make you any less of a fan than the next person is.
Yeah, it's just like, you can easily just say you weren't interested and you were valid. You are valid. Yeah, same way that I skipped a bunch of recent Rider and Sentai series because I don't like the staff that makes them and don't think they'll do something I can enjoy, so I just not watch.
The idea that you have to constantly engage with every single piece of a media property or franchise to be considered a fan is such a toxic one to me, because one, how can you possibly keep up with everything? And two, like it makes you feel like you have to be part of some sort of secret club.
Like, it's like, oh, if you like Star Wars, you have to watch the Star Wars series. No, I don't. If you like Star Wars, you have to watch the Disney TV series. No, I don't. If you like Star Trek, you have to watch all the new Trek series. I don't like any of the new Trek series, even though I've heard that Lower Decks gets better than its trash start. Like, you can like something, but not like everything about it. That's kind of, that's again my thing with Universal Century. I have the most complaints with that. One.
Here at Dread Zone, we're serious about historical preservation. Future generations will look back at recordings of Dread Zone to see these historic sites blown up in high-definition video.
Fan 66. Every Gundam fan series they prefer. You don't need to love all the Gundams to be a good fan. Just enjoy what you enjoy. Yeah, that's... Though some people need to stop criticizing certain series in excess of sin. Like, understand why the series are that way, and you're good. Let's see. Alright, where's Rolf Fizzlebeef in all
This is more
this?
fun than a busload of cheerleaders.
Well, Fizzlebeef?
Yeah,
Who's that?
Buzz Harlight? I'm making MST3K references.
Oh, that explains it. I don't really engage.
I want to show you Space
This is my
Mutiny.
favorite part. You know.
Like, that was literally the definition of you making references, and I'm just blankly staring at you as they fly over my head.
Chat, sound off. Who has seen Space Mutiny?
Oh, Dear Crystal, happy Friday the 13th. Look out for Jason.
Nah, he went to Manhattan.
Screw that box. where Jason went to space.
Excuse me, Princess.
Speaking of things, apparently they announced a spin-off, like, new series for the regular show and, Steven Universe.
Why though?
And, like, okay, Steven Universe kind of makes sense because it's following up on a storyline that didn't really go anywhere in the base series, so it's the one with the character Mars. So, okay, sure, whatever, but regular show doesn't make a lot of sense to me because the way that series ended was pretty perfect, all things considered.
Plus, people really did not like Steven Universe Future. That makes less sense for that one to get a spin-off / continuation.
Although apparently the Amazing World of Gumball is also getting a new series, but that also makes sense because apparently the original series ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I mean, they were spoofing a lot of stuff, so it kind of fits their oeuvre to do that.
Yeah, like the trailer did announce the new revival had the characters of like the two main characters, Gumball and Darwin, wake up but like are covered in layers of dust.
It's like, we were canceled?
No, it's like, wait, how long were we sleeping?
Oh, they did the Norbert and Daggett, how long have we been asleep joke.
Yeah.
I miss Angry Beavers.
I think also, I would, instead of all, like, I know there's a lot of series coming back that make sense to have them come back, but I would rather have, like, more original series that are kind of developed than, like, a revival of something, you know?
Like, if it was something counts before its time, that makes more sense, but a lot of these are, like, they had appropriate runs.
And sure, like, the series like King of Dogs, you know, you could do new stories with it, and you can justify it a bit better. But there was a time when like studios could actually let new properties exist and let them like experiment a bit. You know what I mean?
And then they went to the Netflix model where you're guaranteed to have one season or less, and it's all very short content. I get, there needs to be commitment to these for them to do well.
Folks, I hope everybody's pee-pee because we're not breaking for commercial anytime soon.
Also, speaking of things that don't deserve really need a comeback, the Persona 4 remake.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still scratching my head at that one.
Yeah, it's like Persona 3 makes sense in why they had to redo it, because there were legit control and combat issues with the original version that people just did not want to acknowledge. Whereas the Persona 4 Reload, or Persona 3 Reload, it didn't fix things that were actually wrong with the story, because mainly just due to the game's age, they weren't acknowledged, and they weren't. Part of the reason why they weren't acknowledged was just a lot of people couldn't get that deep into the game because of the gameplay issues.
And also, many people criticize, like, Reload I think is a good game, but the fact that there's no FemC, like, confused a lot of people, like,
because that content was already made to exist for Persona 3 Portable.
But also, Persona 3 Portable was criticized for it to, like, even more visual novel style. So I guess people were hoping that we could see, like, a fully 3D FemC.
Destin is really kicking some proverbial.
And plus, like, the long
proverbial,
desire
I mean,
for there to be
the,
another
I don't really know what
Persona
that
game with an actual female protagonist. You know what I mean?
It's like, if they're gonna do that for Persona 6, okay, but if they're gonna do a full Persona 4 remake, it kind of feels like they need to add something more.
Right, like, what could you possibly do in a Persona 4 remake that wouldn't be just retreading the same water.
Like, maybe rewrite Marie's character to integrate her better instead of the tacked on nature it is for Persona 4 Golden, because I think that's a lot of people's biggest criticism of Persona 4 Golden, just everything revolving around Marie. I can't really contradict that, but then again, they tried to do a better integration with the Royal add-on with Sumire, and people were still mad about it because they took away the wrong things about it from just how that was done. It's like, we're trying to not be intrusive and integrate her better, and then, oh wait, why don't you like that? You don't like that either? There is no winning with Persona fans.
So why can't they remake Persona 1 and 2?
I don't know why they can't, because you would think, considering there's more foundational lore in there, that there would be some interest in doing that. Just because it's Persona 4 was a big money maker for it, and Persona 3 got kind of overshadowed for it. And then the problem you have there is the original cast that made Persona 4 so popular, because there was that time where this same cast kept coming together for so many projects that got popular together, so, you know, one cascaded to the other. They're not coming back. Yuri Lowenthal, Aaron Fitzgerald, and Amanda Lee have announced publicly that they've been talking with Atlas representatives, and they've been asking, can we reprise our characters, and Atlas is not letting them. Whether that was because of the Actors Guild strike or not, we just don't know.
But, and also, I am not looking forward to the Naruto and Kanji debates being reignited by people who can't read.
Yeah, media literacy with those two characters specifically is just so horrible.
This time,
like,
Ratchet is dropped into
the discourse was
with
terrible
no
back
weapons.
then. It'll be worse
If your
even
eyes
now.
fail, though, there are weapon crates placed throughout the zone.
They're ones required to be used. It's limited ammo typing.
Oh.
This is what shotgun for, not rocket launcher.
Hey, look, a sniper rifle. You're so good with those.
This creature is clearly much too dangerous to be set free. He must be destroyed.
Than what Yu-Gi-Oh did, because
it's gonna be a hard sell without cast.
Yeah, like
it's like what they would need to do is actually make Yu Narukami be a voice character, something that Persona games keep messing up with their playable protagonists.
Apparently, Metaphor Refund Yu-Gi-Oh kind of like solve this problem by having a character actually voice legitimate lines. Like, you still make the decisions, but like they still will speak in certain instances. And so, what a novel concept, you know? Like, the character, your main character does not have to be a silent protagonist the entire time.
Yeah, it's like actually have to speak the lines when you give them different dialogue options.
because like having to be voiced informs so much about like how like
I brought that up with Persona 4 the animation, how much having you have his own character voice added so much to the arc of the character. And actually allowing him to have a character arc.
Have you ever wondered what's in the special sauce?
Damn it, I was right by the health restorative. Get the Persona 4 voice actor of the anime. The Persona 4 voice actors from the anime are same as in game. They're literally the same.
Cookie. What kind of cookie would he be? I'm gonna go with Snickerdoodle.
Remember Atlas is owned by Sega. The fact Yakuza doesn't have the same problems as their other games is kind of funny. Yeah, that's because Ryuga Kotoku Studios is their own studio. Like, they're owned, but they're not micromanaged. That's why we can more blame Atlas for this than Sega, because this is clearly an Atlas thing.
So I just have this funny image in my head of Ichiban, like in his party fighting
Ratchet, now going out in the proverbial
Also, speaking of Persona in this, I swear they need to put Koto in Sonic Racing game, because that just makes sense for Persona in the motorcycle.
Like, come on, you're telling me
It writes itself.
You're like, if you do not put the girl whose Persona is an actual rideable vehicle in a racing game where Joker's involved, like, what are you doing? What are you actually? I'll resurrect your down pod.
Yeah.
Revive from the grave.
Harry.
Phoenix Hunter, I have a small question. Have you seen the anime Star Drive?
I hadn't heard of it.
I heard it was decent. It's just a mecha show, but like instead of pretty girls, it's pretty boys.
Eh.
I think I don't need to say that to like because it's not like I'm speaking ill of the series or anything. It's just that's how it was described.
Report to security. You're parked in my space. Team Darkstar simply won't give up.
Like, please, give up already. Come on.
Never.
Like, you dragged me all the way out here to this godforsaken game show. I'm gonna live it.
I don't want to be dead. I want to be alive. Or a cowboy.
Why do you want to be a cowboy? No, Chris, that is not what I was saying. because
They're a lost art.
Yeah, because honestly, like, what makes them fun is like how much memorization based it really is. Like, for aiming is part of it, but also just figure out and see how can you best maximize the amount of.
Yeah, it's like I lost points the first time simply because I didn't realize what I was supposed to be doing.
Or like how many things you could actually do. Yo. And I have it under the authority that no one's half bad.
Preparation of night test and law. I deliberately butchered that one for people who don't get the joke. Hey, look, right, I'm on my score.
Your Crystal saying, you're saying a mecha series is pretty boys with pretty girls, so a Rule 63 cross on. Just because the series has pretty boys in it doesn't necessarily make it Rule 63 cross on. Which, like.
This next challenge is pure madness. Swarmer madness! Let's see how many enemies Ratchet can destroy before time runs out.
I don't want to be in Dread Zone. I want to be a lumberjack. That's okay, man. If you want to be a lumberjack, that's okay.
Boomstick is an in-game achievement.
Whoa! This
How dare.
announcer is impressed.
It's like if you're going to do that, at least make it an outro in the game Bruce Campbell. That our joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the fact that Yuna is like Sphera and
your queen, Queen Bitch.
So like I was playing Final Fantasy X last night, and there was a part where like Yuna's training with some people, or like some people want to fight her, and it's just like imagine like post game, she's on a date with Titus, and like random people keep coming up to fight her, like. Lady Yuna, you do me the honor of letting me fight you.
Make some noise.
Like, you really want me to dumb you?
It's like, step on me, mommy. Okay, Titus.
Relentless attack from wave after wave of lethal enemies.
And now it got weird.
Or like somebody coming up to fight Yuna, and Yuna's sitting there all pretty with smiles, and then Ping standing behind her with the grump like the meanest face you've ever seen. Like, okay. Ping is so your energy, it's hilarious.
Yes.
Person I know that's really nice and like has a very nice kind heart, but they're also grumpy and wear black all the time, and I mean it's like when we're talking about you or Pink. I wonder what would happen if you pulled her punches. I would probably die.
I mean, that's kind of Riku's job. Okay, I like how these hollow shields tell when they're gonna fade.
Bradley Harris, I remember during Final Fantasy X-2 where Yuna pulled a gun on Iran, so Yuna was fully willing to cap someone with no hesitation. Yeah, that was awesome. She's not playing. She's a queen. Like, she understands. Like, she pulled out that gun and was like, listen, I don't want to do this, but I will do what I have to. I may be a healer, but...
The literal definition of that meme.
Media Hood, hey Des, since it's been years since you did your top 10 Kamen Rider insert songs, have any new favorites join that list?
Not a lot. Most of the X8 soundtrack was kind of the last time I really gravitated to serious insert themes, especially because they've become rarer arts. Like, 01's kind of sucked. Bill didn't really use them. I don't even know if they have them. K-Tate's best song is its opening theme. So whenever they use that as an insert theme, it kind of trumps everything else. Drives are really good, but that's it. X8 and Drive are the only things post doing that list that really stuck out. Fab666, I wish we could have some of the older Super Wars games translated into English. Give us a remaster of the Z series. I think that would be killer for a lot of people.
Kids across the galaxy.
It's like you can keep the existing sound files for the game even.
You superpowers.
I'm Gamatron. My eyes shoot laser beams. I'm Reactor. I can eat metal. I'm Battlehawk. I can fly.
Oh, I love that part.
Sir, we have the latest sales figures.
Yeah, what's the bottom line?
Nobody is buying the new Ace Hardlight merchandise. In fact, sales are down across the board except for
Fuzzy Lombax ears.
We sell those?
Yes, sir. They're an accessory for the Tiny Tots assault weapons kit.
Well, you've obviously made some sort of idiotic mistake. Report to B-level for disintegration.
Yes,
Wait.
Sir?
On your way there, tell the lab to set up a focus test. Find out why this stuff isn't selling.
I'll get right on that, sir.
Oh, it's like, man, having to do one last task before you get disintegrated, like, that sucks.
We're here on the beautiful Blargian homeworld of Arxon, overlooking a massive raritanium mining facility. Each week, challengers navigate their way through the facility with one goal in mind: destroy it! Dreadzone would like to thank the generous people of planet Arxon for, donating a new mining facility every week.
Donating.
Yes, donating. Air quotes.
Sir, permission to speak freely? This place stinks.
Fab666, did I not realize how famous and beloved Ratchet is across these 3 galaxies? I really don't think he does. Also, why is it 3? Because by this point in the trilogy, we'd only been to 2 of them.
I guess the idea is that this guy... Oh, it's a flail.
They always have the obligatory melee weapon at some point. Mini bombs.
Morphing. What does morphing do?
The chicken gun, the keepinator.
It's morphing time. Golgara, we are literally hijacking this guy's industry. I mean, like, and all Ratchet is really doing is just being a silly little wombat and, like, just kicking butt. You know what I mean?
I think Shock Mod makes the most sense to try out with the shield launcher.
Yeah.
The shield launcher. Just to see if, like, if it reflects to, like, lightning blast, that would be so freaking cool.
And that's probably what the real purpose of Deadlock actually is. Not just another entry in the series, but also
make it easier to mod stuff.
Yeah, like fleshing out the combat. You know what I mean?
Okay, let's try that lightning mod shields.
It's something that can actually fight back.
If it's something that actually fight back, probably be better.
You
Yeah.
have a choice of 2 different paths. I'm afraid each one is equally dangerous.
Ooh, they chose the path on the right.
Oh yeah, that was perfect.
Like, my God, they walk into it and then they die.
Well, I just made the Hollow Shield valuable.
Good idea.
Ironically, with my companion shooting things, that makes it less effective, but still. Alright, let's try the Scorpion Flail.
Long time to do a flail in front of a turret.
Yeah.
Hey, Thunder, speaking of a bit of Colorado, I have 2 series I want to watch this year. Being Forcing, I will watch the they're finishing all of Symphogear, which they're currently watching.
All of those are good choices.
That is a cultured watch list, my friend. Symphogear followed by Forcing and Eats, like, my God.
Like, I know people have some stylistic issues with Force, but it's one of the big favorites, and it makes the most sense when it's because when you put it in terms of it's a Kazuki Nakashima series. Because in those terms, it's just live-action Gurren Lagann.
Like, some people criticize Force for having, like, I'll never forgive them the original, when I was watching Goku that they didn't like Genshiro because he was so happy-go-lucky friendship man. But I'm like, no,
that's not a criticism, that's a feature. Like, rather, that's not a bug, that's a feature.
Yeah, it's like, you hate this friendship space bug man for, like, being friendly and wanting to reach out to others, no matter, like, how hard it may be.
And it's like, personal taste and preference, yeah, but this isn't something critiquable like, say, the conduct of rights from Tokyuger or Takamaru from Ninja, where they're actually being detriments to the people around them. It's like, there's legitimate criticism, there's personal taste issues, and then there's illegitimate critiques. And it's like, I like the Tokyo River crew, I'm kind of friendly with them, but we have got the grounds of agree to disagree on things. You gotta have that sometimes.
Garo. Also, I like that Nike Magic is getting more models.
Yeah, the upgrade flight pack for the EX scale one. The EX scale one. I still have that freeware. I don't know if I'm still getting that or not.
Well, but I am happy that they're doing the upgrade for it because I do know that, like, the Ikaruga gets one more final form, if you will.
Final upgrade.
Yeah, and, like, the fact that they're willing to do novelizations, like, because that upgrade was never formally
enhanced the anime, because the anime didn't progress far enough.
Right, so I'm actually really happy about that.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere, they've only got 1 force field left.
Bradley Harris, off topic, but I've been getting back to Naruto and going back to the OG anime. Man, Ichimoto retcons so many things it hurts. Yeah.
Yeah, and not just lore expansion retcon, actual retcon. Lore expansions can be healthy because it's just new information. Retcons just actively change everything. It's like, it's clear that he had not laid out where his story would eventually go.
I mean, when Bleach slightly retcons things, it's not like, it's not earth-shattering.
Or it's seeded from something else because you didn't have context to it before.
Right. Now, like, Bleach's problem at the end of the day is just how well it executes those ideas. But at least, like, when the Quincy stuff and the Thousand Year Blood War arc started, it didn't feel that out of left field. It was just, oh, that's what the deal with these guys are.
Whereas with Naruto, you have retcons where there are at least 3 or 4 people who should have taken care of Naruto instead of having him being the familyless orphan nonsense, and only one of them has a legitimate excuse for why he did not take him in.
Like, for example, if Naruto is holding the nine-tailed fox spirit, why the heck did the village not, like at least somebody like the Hokage or somebody of importance, like, set him up in a nicer situation? Like,
okay, yeah, technically 2 out of 4 had legitimate reasons. One of them being Mikoto Uchiha, Sasuke's mother, because apparently she was friends with Kushina. But neither here nor there on that one. But whereas Kakashi and Tsunade both had legitimate reasons to say, take Naruto and run with it.
right. Like, can you imagine what would have happened had Kakashi actually trained Naruto from the get-go?
Or Naruto been out of the village with Tsunade.
Oh my god, that would have, like,
imagine offensive healer Naruto with his chakra supply.
Like,
in that setting.
Yeah, it's not being, like, a badass, grandma mom, there's some genuine directions, and it's just, it's frustrating when stuff like that happens.
Third Hokage had politics keeping out of things. He's technically number 5 on that list. Ergo, he's one of those that has a legitimate reason, and he's the one who actually looked out for Naruto despite the specific circumstances of the politics. The 4 in that list is Mikoto Uchiha, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Kakashi. Jiraiya is legit because the spy work. Tsunade, off in the distance, could have just left, taken him out of the village. Kakashi was in village, who could have looked after him better, but, trauma there, where he completely failed on it and kept failing longer term. But you had options, you went down the list, you didn't have any of them actually do it. So the second you add in these possibilities, you create the question of why you didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna loop back to Black Century King's comment, but last thing with the Naruto thing from Bradley Harris. Exactly, you're telling me Minato nor Kushina had any close friends that could have taken in their child, which, yeah, you mean to tell me that these 2 people who are really awesome and cool had nobody willing to step up to take care of their kid?
Yeah, it's like even Iruka, who kind of developed affection for Naruto, there's reasons why that wouldn't have really done that, because they didn't really connect like that on that level until after the big revelations later, where Iruka was the first to accept Naruto after Naruto gained knowledge of why he was ostracized.
But Black Century King said, I still wonder to this day what if Gaim came after Force and how the crossover between them could have gone. Like, that is actually, like, I kind of would love that thematic dual, comparison between the two, because Forrest is really optimistic in his messages of friendship and understanding, whereas Gaim had backstab betrayals all over the place. You know what I mean?
Where the reason why they didn't get the best possible option was there was a couple of characters in the cast just being outright assholes.
So can you imagine, Gentro just rolling up to all that, nonsense and, friendshipping is...
Because, even Kaito, wasn't the biggest antagonist beyond the point of he wants to fix things in the grander scheme, but then the narrative kept trying to insist, oh, he's the biggest bad of this show, and everybody's a monster. It's like, no, you kinda don't realize your own material, especially with the extra canon war, and then you kind of screwed that up entirely with the cinema, so that the popular character is now the least liked among the cast members. You kind of messed that up in a more major sense, dudes. There we go. Trying to figure out how to move on.
Terror Death is funny with guys. They say they're sorry for being late. Yeah, should have liked the number. As far as what you missed, I think efforts of everything. He is my advisor because, somebody's got to keep me in check. Also, where's the pizza I ordered, Terror Death? You should have given it to me 5 minutes ago.
Pizza will arrive again in 30 minutes.
Pure Crystal, I have this thought about kind of Seraphal from High School DxD and Solid F Los Angeles being possible. But
Yeah.
like, do you know?
I know Seraphal.
I don't.
Basically, she's the intelligence officer for the underworld, and she loves magical girl anime, to the point of always going around in magical girl outfits that entirely embarrass her sister, who she is yandere for. Like all of the siblings of DxD have a sibling complex about their siblings.
Gotcha. I mean, how can no one not figure out Naruto is Naruto's son? It just looks like his papa. Like, okay.
He acts like his mother. Like, is there no one who has connected the dots?
So, true story, when I was a kid, and when Naruto was, like, revealed the fourth Hokage's design, I immediately went, that's Naruto's dad. Like, come on.
Everybody knew that.
Like, come on, that's, like, obvious right there. And
it's like, if you're in a
nobody, like...
And it's like, if you're in a village and you see how Naruto's acting and you knew that Minato and Kushina were fucking, you know who their kid was.
Right, like, you need to tell me that nobody else in the village thought the kid with blonde spiky hair and his personality was like the kid of the heroes of their village. Like, is the Leaf Village just the Marvel civilian populace or something?
And it's like, there's a point where you stretch credulity on that.
Garo says it might, I don't know if it's just me, but your audio keeps getting crackly. Is anybody else getting that problem?
Okay, try, pulled and replugged in the mic. That happens sometimes. If it's still happening, let me know. I will try the other plugs.
Tara Death is asking about, Samurai Troopers.
I am looking forward to it.
And that's fair they can ask that, because they
weren't here. Yeah. Like, I love as I said earlier in the stream, I love the original. I'm going to be showing the Lexus in our pattern of watching the original and then forgetting to actually watch the remaster or the remake, because that keeps happening with us.
But yeah, like, it's like, Naruto is such an example of how
or things that should be logical and alluded to end up not liked in how they were handled. Like, we don't have an issue with the information being given to us, but then it brings into question how things were handled earlier. It's like, there's no winning with Naruto.
No, there isn't.
It's like, the original series was not good, and that the Boruto stuff that even Naruto fans don't like is not good.
Tara Death is asking if we could lower the game volume.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, fair.
Instead of Naruto, why don't you read some peak Shonen Jump material like Undead Unluck or Ice Shield 21?
Mm-hmm.
I know Ice Shield is American football sports manga, but no, it's good. It's, like, legitimately great storytelling. Like, I'm not even, like, joking here.
Yeah. So apparently Naruto is given the Uzumaki surname, so Minato anyone can after him if you had the Namikaze surname. Except then they expanded the Uzumaki were actually more well-known and more dangerous to the point that their entire own solo village got wiped out, and that's actually a big scandal that the Leaf Village can't forget. It's like, oh hey, you raised the importance of Naruto's family to the point of asking why the hell was he isolated and ostracized as severely as he was. It's like, you have no good route for that, for resolving this.
Anyways, they're gonna I'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, the juice is cold, and the generic brand X gelatin is.
If we're talking sports manga, I recommend Slam Dunk. Alexis likes Slam Dunk.
That's also good.
Yeah, I don't really have a sports manga really doesn't appeal to me. I know they have a niche, but I am not part of it. Which is completely valid. They have their audience, there's a way to control that audience, that's what's important.
Anything for the commander, sir.
Phantom 666, I remember Hajime no Ippo. That's the boxing one, if I remember correctly.
David Hayden also thought the Beat the Reincarnation trailer that I was not expecting Game Freak to be behind it.
Beast of Reincarnation.
Apparently Game Freak, the Pokemon people, like, have made a new 3D game, and that looks completely different from everything they've done before.
Huh.
I mean, I know I haven't seen it myself, I'm aware of it, but... Also, I'm making, like, Read Undead Unluck to be, like, my next watch Simple Gear, because it is so highly underrated, and I don't know how many people have actually read it, but...
And it's like, from everything Alexis has told me about it, it's supposed to be really good. I kind of want to see the anime. Apparently Mars Girl wrote a bunch of the subtitles for it.
Yeah, it's all the David production, the JoJo people, and they did a pretty solid job.
It's on our list.
It's like, Your Crystal, hey Alexis, do you think a crossover between Slam Dunk and Kuroto's basketball would make sense? I never read Kuroto's basketball, but considering that they're both, basketball teams in a realistic setting, there's no reason why they couldn't. It's like, I think the reason, I was telling, Des this before we started the stream, but one of the reasons I love iFeel 21 is because it is our reality in a sense.
It's just exaggerated.
It's just exaggerated, and the art style really helps emphasize, like, the point with, like, the football action scenes. Like, sort of how Demon Slayer would go on to do with their moving styles. Like, the art does the same. The art's like that, but only for football plays and characters, you know?
Uh-oh, Ratchet is looking weak.
And Scorpion World is actually really effective.
But yeah, like, one thing I won't say about Undead Unluck without giving too much away is that in a time where, like, so many stories and, like, the real world keeps trying to make things dark and depressing, like undead unluck, one of its core things is literally spitting in the face of forced tragedies and like fighting. And if it takes fighting gods to make a happy ending, then by God, they're gonna do it.
All I know is this, that we'll be fine as long as we just last through enough of the nonsense.
Right, and that's, like, yeah, exactly. Like, so many things just want to break us and wind us down and say, no, give up. But, like, that's what these people want. Like, that's what, like, so to defy them, you literally just say, nah, I'm standing here. You know what I mean? Laser Lord, does anyone else remember IDPX?
I have that Blu-ray.
When I heard the voice cast for that anime for the first... Like, I remember watching it on Toonami, but the voice cast just never...
Yeah, when Discotech did it, it's like, I never actively engaged with it and watched it, but it was one of Toonami's first original anime, so there's merit to having a personal copy of it. And it's like, IGPX is one of those where you could feasibly see them get a Super Robot Wars entry, considering the entire thing is racist with mechs.
Wow, that giant exploding drill was neat. Who would have thought the highly toxic drill fuel would leak out the back of the factory, endangering countless lives? I did.
Best section, if they use the Build Fighters universe as the basis of a Super Robot Wars game, how would you set up that setup, considering that there have been build shorts that create AI copies of canon pilots? One, not everything that is canon to a single series is then put into a Super Robot Wars game. You just don't include the AI pilot recreation stuff from those OVAs. Two, Build Divers Re-Rise. That's how you do the angle for that. You have the Build Fighters, the Build Universe characters get isekai'd in through the Gundam Battle Online stuff. Not make it a simulation, use the simulation as a framework to bring them in.
Yeah. DJ Toku, yeah, since we're talking racing series, I still need to watch Initial D.
You will love their soundtrack. The Eurobeat is off the rails.
You will have running, if you have not had running in the 90s on your iPod playlist, on your musical playlist before, you will.
Gamble, Rumble, and Overdrive. Those were my two.
I also on back on sports series. I think the worst one I've ever read was, or at least engaged with to some extent, was Prince of Tennis.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I think for me, what a sports series needs is... well, yeah. Anyways, for what I think for me, what a sports series needs is, a protagonist you can root for, an engaging plot. I mean, okay, any story needs an engaging plot, but like, if sports series are all about character growth and progression, if your character is already starting at the peak, then unless you do like a One Punch Man kind of thing, then it's not that engaging. Like, oh my gosh, the guy, the tennis prodigy is great at tennis. Who would have thunk? You want it?
Yeah. It was like, yeah, you kind of have to do more of a Shogeki no Soma situation where, yeah, the main character is really good, but you also need to set them up against the best to prove that they're good.
Right, and
or it's like, not necessarily to knock on Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, but Yu-Gi-Oh! GX starts out with advertising Jaden as the next king of games, but then, at least with all of his duels, you then see how he validates that, even though he doesn't seem like the sharpest tool in the shed and is a bit of a slacker.
Right, like, and with iShield 21, it starts with a main character named Senna, who is a pipsqueak and doesn't play football, and is forced to be a gopher for a bunch of bullies, like, and so you develop a very fast running skill, but it becomes that fast running skill that it's like, Well, hold on. Do you know that those fast legs of yours could be really good in this particular field? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you learn that over.
That could have easily segued into a track anime as well. That's how that kind of engine in itself works.
Right. And then that as a running ability segue actually goes along with like how football's a sport about a team coming together who any one person may be good at one particular thing, but if they were by themselves they'd be nothing, but together, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So then you get a camaraderie team thing that counters the whole bully playing.
Yeah.
Or that they were suffering under before. I should clarify my points.
Like, I've been reading the original Captain Tsubasa on the Shonen Jump app, and I have a hard time getting through it because the main character Tsubasa himself has that same kind of, while he's training to get better, kind of like is already at at a peak. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
like
at a certain point, training aren't really going to do anything.
Or like. It's just like everybody's fawning over him. Like, oh my gosh, this guy's so awesome. This kid's so great. He's gonna be the next prodigy. And it worked for the time, but looking at it through modern lenses, it just doesn't engage me as much as I think it should be. You know what I mean? Like, even if the actual soccer matches are intense and they do struggle for their wins, like Tsubasa himself isn't that interesting of a character. Like, you know how, like, for chat, Captain Tsubasa's first chapter is him playing with a soccer ball as a tiny little teeny toddler. He gets hit by a car, but is saved because he had the ball up in front of him at the time, and he bounced his way to safety.
Mid reviews, or even what Kyoryuger did with Daigon, showing him is almost too powerful compared to the rest of the team, if I'm remembering that correctly. You are not remembering that correctly. Like, he was a jack of all trades who had a year-long training arc over the others, but he did not specialize in the same things the rest of the team did, which made each of them have their own unique value and issues with the team. What people mischaracterize about it is him resolving their problems for them instead of putting them on the path to get on their own character arcs themselves as part of their recruitment in the early series. It's like, a lot of Kyoryuger's strength is the character contrast, because when the show is not focused on the main storyline where Daigo is part of it, Daigo takes a back seat so everyone else can have their own episodes and plots. This show could have balanced that even better by not giving Daigo most of the power-ups, but that is just a idiosyncrasy that Toei itself caused. So there are ways to better balance it, but is not an overall detriment to the degree in which it is slandered. It's like, I made a bunch of videos about Kyoryuger explaining all of that, and I actually revived a lot of people's opinions about Daigo when put in those terms. To not even get into the fact that Kyoryuger was written by a guy who does shonen anime, where Daigo is very much a shonen anime protagonist.
Like, and a good one. He earned the name King.
Yeah, it's the king's journey, not a hero's journey. Story.
And why are you shooting the audience?
Because it's the audience and we're forced into Deathgate. That kind of just makes sense to me.
Pure Crystal, and yet some people say right from Tokuger is justified being that way because he's a kid and kids act like that all the time.
No, kids are shitty about acting like that too. There is no justifications for that.
Right, I was about to say that, like
to the point that the show itself calls it out and yet never corrects its behavior. That is the entire problem with that. If you call it out but never correct the behavior, that is an actual legitimate failure.
And also, like, I know Pure Crystal, was saying that, like, people think about, like, same rights justified, but when Tokuger was airing and you were like, oh, White's okay with acting like this because he's a kid, are you telling me that it's okay for kids to act like this just because they're kids, kids will be kids, but two, are you telling me that, like, all kids act like this? Because I don't like that idea.
Yeah, it's like, that's the big problem about Tokuger. It's like, they didn't write the children as actual children. I railed on a bunch of Rockman EXE's portrayal of Neto simply because when certain writers were not writing the cast members, they didn't act like that. So it's like, you can't excuse them suddenly being written act like kids when that's not the kind of kid they were shown to be written as before.
Like, because I'm a big proponent of, like, having... If you're going to have, having likable kid characters, because as much as we need heroes to look up to, having a kid see themselves in a story and be, like, realistically relatable, like, that's just as important.
It's like, I did not know a single person in my life that ever acted as Wright did. That's a grand majority of my critique of the character. He's not acting like a child, he's acting like an asshole.
And at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, if you met Wright from ToQger in person and you saw him acting the way he was, would that be a person you would want to hang out with? You know what I mean? Like, would that be a person that you could not just, or if not hang out with, but like, would that be a person you could tolerate being around for long periods of time? You know what I mean?
And the fact that the rest of the cast actually did know better is also telling that it's not Raito acting like a kid is the problem, it's just his behaviors in general.
Media Hood, take it as someone whose job revolves around talking to kids for a fair chunk of the day. Wright does not get that he's just a kid excuse. Yeah, like Media Hood, he works in a Lego store. Like,
yeah,
he's seen all types of kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Folks, we've added a special twist to the assault mode. Our contestant will only have access to weapons placed in the battle course. Good luck.
Shoot, I missed the gun. There we go.
But anyway, back to Carnage. And yeah, we've been more engaging with the chat because, like, this game is so light on story that there's not really much to really chew on.
Yeah. It doesn't just say it's bad, it's just, it's clearly it wanted people who wanted more bird death kills to get their fill. Like, story is important, but there are games where you just don't need to focus on story, and that's totally legitimate.
Yep.
Ratchet has reached the halfway point. He's really tearing it up out there, folks.
I guess all the little run animation, like...
Death balls.
Oh,
why did it have to be death balls?
Oh, death ball tree. Oh, death ball tree. You really make it crazy.
Like, I'm just doing the dual vipers with the ice and it's killing so many of them. There we go.
Like, honestly, I always love it when a game gives you those mod options and then you find that one killer combination that suits your playstyle. You know
Bradley Harris, I once saw some writing advice on kid characters. You write them as miniature adults with much less world experience and slightly less mature. Yes, exactly.
Because, like, I believe that kids are way smarter than you can give them credit for. And so whenever I see it, not just in fiction, but, like, in real life, when I see kids either being mistreated or looked down upon or even, like, neglected to varying degrees, I get a little bit pissed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a lot of my issue with ToQger. They write the cast members as members of the Short Bus Brigade with occasional perspective on them being actual children, not as children in adult bodies. They really struggled with that the most out of anything there. And then there's, just as Davis Hayden is bringing up, about the consistent string of bad Reds that we had in the 2010s after Kyoryuger. Wright was bad, Takahara was bad, Yamato's character was ruined by the end of the series, Lucky was the worst. In fact, I consider him one of the worst Reds they ever had. And then you have the dueling dynamics of the Lupat pair, where Genpachiro?
Wasn't it thinking Pachi or something?
Gen from that
Gen.
show was the one with his behavior that ruined everything else, because they kept having to make the Lupin Ranger look worse to justify his indefensible actions, and that broke everything. And then you don't have good Reds again until Ryu's Soldier to an extent. Even then, Ryu's Soul Red is kind of...
Yeah, Kai was kind of just... What's the name Kai, I think?
I don't remember, but I don't remember his name. But it's like, he's pretty reserved, so it's hard to be hostile towards him. And then Juru is actually of merit, because he's not like any of the other Reds in that he's a bit unconfident, and it's his imagination abilities, contrasting with everyone else's specialties, that brings everybody together. So it's not until Kira Major that we really get a Red of merit. A tangible, different character again.
Honestly, I really like Jiru because, like, he showed that a Red doesn't have to be the badass leader type or the hot-blooded idiot or...
It can be just having a special ability that's unconventional to everybody else.
And also being a bit timid.
Yeah. Like, him gaining confidence over the story, that's not something a lot of these Reds do. Plus, you know, him being not technically in charge because the team leader was the yellow of that team, but like him having aspects that contrast against everybody else that helps him grow, that was of merit. And I especially like the early side episode where all the others are trying to do their own training regimens that enhance their abilities, and it basically being torture for him just because that's not who he is, and making a story about you can be different from others and not specialize in what they do, and that's okay. That's an important story that Sentai hasn't done for a while. God, Kira Major really was a savior series during 2020, mentally.
Oh, absolutely. My God. Like, how dark 2020 was. How dark things are now. I'm really proud of how far we've come. Stop firing at me, it's really painful.
I don't like that when some people say, oh, this person's opinion is superior to everybody else, and just take their opinion without having their own. For example, a few of my friends cannot stand you, Decimal, because of what you said during the final arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Side Dimensions. Yeah, there's a reason why I put off doing those videos for as long as I could, because I knew my stance was going to be controversial, but I made it clear when I started doing the Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos that I could not stand a TEM, and I did not like how any of the conclusionary Duel Monsters content was handled.
So on a more TJ Joe, Ryu Soul Red was Poe. I knew it began with...
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it started with a K, we could not remember.
Like, honestly, that's, I think, more indicative of his character than anything. That he, like, I could not remember his name to save my life. Anyways, Terror Death, Alexis, thoughts on the most recent episodes of GOV? I'm glad you asked. So, I legitimately believe Kamen Rider GOV has had a string of pretty solid episodes as of late. Wrapping up some character arc stuff, building upon, like, doing some nice thematic parallels with characters.
Dreams come bigger
first,
than life, and passions run wild in the streets. Baby,
I'm not your baby.
One psychotic killing machine dare to reach for the stars. This holiday season, Vox Entertainment brings you the heartwarming true story of one exterminator's rise to glory. From lowly beginnings as a
I
high
don't
school
have
math
teacher.
teacher.
But baby, I'm giving these kids the gift of learning.
You're pathetic. Get out of my sight.
To spectacular success as a homicidal sports superstar.
We're rich. I love you, Reactor. I was always there for you.
Share the dream. Live the legend of Reactor.
That's so funny.
But yeah, just because people had a better time with Dark Side Dimensions than me doesn't make my opinion invalid any more than it makes their opinion invalid. So like, I gave my reasoning for why I can't stand the conclusionary Duel Monsters stuff, and it really does tie itself around how the Duel Monsters content just seems to keep scapegoating Seto Kaiba. That's a legitimate take.
Oh, the mini turn's back. In pod form.
But it's just, in general, my issues with scapegoating a character that is not depicted as bad as the story keeps trying to make them out to be. It's like, when you keep doing that, I'm gonna have issues.
One thing I'll say about the GOV though, I'll give it praise for convincing me on the Master Over mode for the final form, because debuting Over mode at first confused me. Like, why is there a big lumbering orange punch guy? Like, this form kind of stinks. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then you introduce the Master side of the equation, and Master Mode speed blitzes you, and then at the last second he switches to the power form, and then it punches you straight in the face.
Yeah. It's like, that's a good combo, and it's baffling that this sort of revolve on gimmick wasn't used for Geese.
I know, right? That seems weird, but maybe they took inspiration from...
Yeah, something they didn't really fully utilize with the final form stream.
Yeah. As far as overall thoughts on GOG, so before somebody else asked, if I'm gonna rank it in terms of how I usually rank these things, it's sitting at an 8 out of 10. It's enjoyable, but there's some notable flaws in how its handling of its villains kind of holds things a bit back, at least for now. And by villains, I'm referring to the Stomach family, because there's a large chunk of the show where they're not that much of a force to be reckoned with, and so it feels like there's a lot of story lost potential.
Like, they're not quite the Sonozakis and how they're less utilized. It's just like they're just not there.
Right, exactly. It's like what we do get of them is good. It's just you wish there was more of it. But as far as all the hero side back and stuff, no, that stuff's great. And no notes. Like, I'm not,
yeah.
Like, I'm also really happy that the person who was responsible for killing the secondary writer Honto's mom, or at least getting her abducted in the first place, did not turn out to be Shoma. Because I remember, like, I was discussing that with you a while back, and I was so concerned about that. But
yeah,
no, thank goodness. Like it was just a random guy.
Random guy with other plot relevance.
Yeah. Black Century King. I do wish Jonochi was treated with a little more respect. I do wish we could get a series with an MC based off the guy.
Yeah. No, it's like there's a lot there is to critique about the original Duel Monster series that is not contingent on 4Kids' issues. And it's like, some people see it, some people don't. It doesn't make their opinion invalid. It's like, I think I really didn't want to do those after Kazuki Nakashima's death, or Kazuki Takahashi's death, because just, bad mouthing a recent creator death.
Yeah.
I even brought that up. That's like, it's in the videos itself that made it so hard to talk about, instead of saying, hey, this is an event that a lot of people really didn't like. It's only afterwards there's been some reconsideration. Well, for others, it's just still as bad. It's still just as bad. Yeah. Especially because I was more vibing with what Mark B was doing up until the point where development for the movie hamstrung the series. And kind of ruined the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime after that point.
This time, Ratchet is utterly doomed. We've wired his Dread Zone collar to 4 control.
I wonder how these things can go.
I'm guessing
Those placed throughout the arena. If he can't stop their countdown in time, the whole audience gets a fresh serving of Lombax pate.
So once they get the turn,
It's like, really? Those are the breaking point with people not liking me? It's like the series that, the entry that already a lot of people didn't like. Okay. Like, I was kind of on my way out by that point anyways.
like, I know he's definitely everybody's cup of tea, but
Clearly, considering my view count.
but I mean, like, at least he tried his best to, like,
I qualify when it's clearly my opinion that a lot of people are going to disagree with. Well, maybe others won't as much disagree. And other times when I'm saying, you know, people are honestly looking at this the wrong way. What I brought up about Persona 5, for example, that's definitely a lot of people looking at it the wrong way because the translation was wrong.
Oh, and Pure Crystal was asking if we watched the live tour that the voice actors do every year at tournaments, and no, we don't.
I don't see streams of it. I don't see them in compilations afterwards.
If they do, we just don't see it.
Yeah.
Like, I should stress that if we don't see, when we say we don't see something, it's both, it can either be we literally just don't watch it, or B, if it exists, it escapes our radar.
And considering how YouTube is these days about recommendations, it happens a lot where you just aren't going to be able to see something, even if you're interested in it.
Yeah.
Time is halfway up. He's dragging his butt out there, Juanita. Looks like we might have another popper on our hands.
Oh, I hope so. This time I brought a shower
Black
cap.
The sad thing is so-called Ruby critics are still doing that every single volume. Yes, because, you know, you didn't catch the Yang Plague thing, you thought Sun was supposed to be a thing, when no, that was just another character that was a story device, and now you're still pissed about it, despite it being a thing since the early volumes. Maybe they could have done that better, but the way you criticize it, it's like, oh, it's offensive for you to see it because you didn't think about it being that way before, and you really don't see how developmental relationships work, or the fact that characters can be allowed to make mistakes. It's like, why is it that every time people do a bad faith argument about Ruby, it always involves blame? Every single time. Every time I've seen a bad faith argument, it involves blame.
Like, Ruby has plenty of things you can criticize about it, but, like, if you're criticizing the Blake and Yang stuff, then I'm sorry, you're just a bigot.
Yeah, it's like, they have been seeding that since basically Adam's, if not Adam's introduction, then definitely at that, if not before Adam's introduction, then definitely at that point.
Like, how could you have seen that whole takedown of Adam and not, like, root for him, you know what I mean? Like...
Well, wait, yeah, ways that Adam's the character. It's like, he was so charismatic, and he was a cult leader that was based off of Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. He literally wasn't supposed to be like that. Then getting rid of him in the way they did is legitimized in it, countering the entire argument. He wasn't supposed to be a long-form villain. He was supposed to be a patsy due to his own biases, and when they got rid of him was when there was a natural end point to his need to have a character. Well, it's like they're getting rid of all the stuff that Monty did. Monty's thing was the high school for magical girls, and that ran its course.
Like, if anything, I think what Monty would have wanted was to see Ruby become successful and have a fan base, and the fact that, like, it's endured a company collapsing in on itself, or because, no, not collapsing in on itself, the fact that it survived Rooster Teeth going under because of nonsense,
I was like, one of the things that really hates me about RWBY critics is it's all based around trying to elevate John when it's a magical, it's a girl-focused series. Why is the fifth banana for story importance supposed to be elevated as the harem protagonist? It's like, I kind of hate John now because of all that fandom bullshit that bad faith critics keep trying to elevate him on with that.
It's like, not like more so you hate John but because it's you know, like how there's sometimes that phenomenon that occurs when people overhype something to a degree that you become sick of it by proxy, even if the thing in question you think you'd be okay with. It's sort of like people like use so many bad faith arguments in relation to John that it's like
it poisons the character even when it's not them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Criticizing RWBY because how are they going to solve the Salem problem that doesn't involve a Deus Ex Machina?
That's fair.
Silver Eyes freezing her. That, like, there has to be a reason why she was slaughtering them, and made it implied it being implied that not a single one of them has ever gotten near her.
That honestly, like, if the Silver Eyes, the play on the silver bullet killing the wolf.
Yeah.
You want to, like, that thing, or the silver axe or whatever? Like, I could see that happening. I think it's just, we need to see more of it to, like, get a definitive, like...
I just hope that they're finally going to resolve the Summer Rose stuff more properly, because it keeps being implied that she's not actually dead. Or
if she got, like, magic... She got, like, anime mom to a different dimension, so she's, in effect, dead. You know what I mean?
Or she left because she was terrified about everything that got involved, and that'll be resolved in Volume 10 with her being the Summer Maiden or something. Like, there's stuff you could do to resolve it, considering one of the big complaints about her is her non-involvement, and apparently Monty had no plans for that, and it was suggested that it was suggested to him that they imply she was dead with how they framed the entire statue set up in the first trailer. Because that's how that panned out. Just the other creators outside of Monty wanting to try and give that some form of meaning out so it's not meaninglessly an empty symbol. Just again, those kinds of discussions are kind of telling about how Monty isn't the. Monty wasn't the end-all, be-all creator, it was also Carrie and Miles that were heavily involved in developing the show, even in the early seasons.
Right. Also, Terror Death says that, speaking of RWBY, White Rose forever. Yes.
I have no arguments.
No arguments. RWBY and White make a cute couple, because the melting of the Snow Queen paired off with the, hyperactive Genki girl, like, that is peak dynamic right there.
It's just less validated than Blake and Yang or RWBY with Penny, which they can do more with to validate, and I think that's people who criticize Volume 9 about it having not progression of anything related to story. It's like, it's a season focused on character stuff that had been getting neglected for years that needed resolution and follow-up. Yeah, it's not going to be focused on main story. They need to spend some downtime with character stuff.
Yeah, especially, like, dealing with Ruby's whole psyche, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I do think it was a wise decision to sit down and focus on Ruby and go, okay, you had this girl that had so much burden placed upon her,
and she clearly, after what just happened, she clearly is not in a healthy frame of mind. There is a point where you need to stop and do that. You didn't have problems with Yang taking some time to do that in Volume 4. Instead, this goes back to the blaming Blake for everything, when no, there's a character arc stuff there that is not harmful to them, and also you criticize Blake for doing the same thing, and after being in part responsible for someone she cares about being injured like that, her having to just take responsibility in a different sense and decompress. It's like you go home to face the parents you ran away from and admit everything you feel like you screwed up over. Like, but no, you can't let a character like be acknowledged for making a mistake.
Yeah, so like basically, at the end of the day, there are things you can criticize about Ruby, but none of it, I think, is the.
It's not in the ways that keeps being shouted.
Right, and it's always being shouted by the most hateful, spiteful people. Like
you somehow think John should be the protagonist. Again, that keeps me in the breakdown. You hate on the characters you're focused on and say it's the one who's never meant to be the protagonist should be the protagonist.
So, like,
Man down! Go on without
Crystal says, so, like, the anime, I'm in love with a villainess, which, because damn it, everything is gay about this, in relation to the nuts, Penny and Ruby, or was it, wait, the point is, I'm in love with a villainess is another anime I need to show you, because that's another funny one. Like, it's the concept.
Yeah, the Weiss Ruby dynamic.
Yeah, but I love that, the twist on the, chasing out, the twist is, the girl gets isekai, but she's like, oh no, you see that villainous girl over there? I'm dating her. Like,
live the dream.
Yeah, live the dream, and it's like, that is so funny and real, like.
And that's kind of why I got the superheroines in love manga, because it's kind of that dynamic.
Golden Garo, have you seen the Dust Queen fan animation yet? Apparently, like, a bunch of people got together and did, like, a Ruby AU, per se, that it's apparently gone over so well that even, Miles Luna...
Yeah,
yeah, Miles Luna, or, like, one of... Yeah, I think it's Miles, talked about it and said, like, wow, this is actually really well done. Which, no, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if I will see it because of just timing of things, but the fact that people care about the series so much that they got together to create their own fan work that has a nod of approval from one of the original writers, I always like that.
Yeah, it's like it gives me more point to actually see it, because again, with Ruby, a lot of fan works is criticizing things that are invalid and rewriting the series to something it was never meant to be because you have this wrong perspective on it. Like, that's not a lot of fan works as of late where they're not necessarily badly written, but they're from a place of being media delivered about the things they're doing it with. It's like, I'm not always correct about these things. But I try at least to absorb all the information I can about something to make my opinion.
thinking that no is a hanger. That's great.
Still, Penny should have lived. I'm sorry. Or if Penny, if you're, like, I feel like...
They get the idea that they can bring her back, like, one more time, but it's, they lost the chance to do the robot to flesh bit.
Right, and my issue is they brought her back into the story, had her be such a, like... I don't like the idea of a character being brought back into a story just so you can, like, pull the emotional ringer for another character all over again. You know what I mean?
Fair.
And also, I feel like Penny could have added so much more to the team dynamic, and it was just cute to have her be around, you know?
And with how they Ubered her for Volume 7, 8, it kind of makes it difficult to really put her in a team dynamic. And then they Ubered her so much, then they had to pull all the hacking nerf stuff.
Right, but that also goes to, I think, the further criticism of how they're going to deal with Cinder of all these characters.
Because, yeah, that's a character they Ubered to the point of absurdity.
Right, because, like, I don't think a character being getting a uber power boost is in itself a bad thing. If you're going to have her, it's like, okay, when the time comes to have her fight Cinder, we're going to use teamwork to blitz her, but Penny will be our equal. You know what I mean? Like, in the event that we can't do it, she can be there to help us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then it's just like, they misbalance Cinder the most. Like that's my biggest critique of that. It's like, oh, people liked it before her backstory was elaborated. It's like, no, her backstory being elaborated was not the problem. That actually better validates her perspective as a villain. It's just that she's given wins she should not be.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Because when Penny got the power up from this fall meet or winter meet and stuff, I liked that because it kind of reminded me of Mac from Operation Overdrive, in that just because a character happens to be a robot does not mean they can't have the heart necessary to, like, achieve greatness. You know what I mean? It's like the marks of a hero shouldn't be restricted to those of only flesh and blood. If Penny wishes to be a real girl at some point, that's her prerogative. But, like, her getting that power boost was a great thing. It was like, I thought it was a really cool moment. But then you have Cinder going around getting these wins that
when you establish that her entire character flaw is her impulsiveness, and yet her wins are all around her being patient, when that's actually shown to be out of character for her.
And also it just comes off as, wait, like, how is she?
It's like, it's not even her resolving her character flaw, it's, you show her that having being this bipolarly unbalanced, so how can she be this excellent mastermind when she should be the dragon, where her getting impulsive is when she screws up her master's big schemes.
It's like, okay, the parallel to bring up God for a moment, in recent episodes, the character of G, who is Shoma's brother, has been trying to use every freaking power-up in the book to, like, get a one-up on Shoma, because he is so pissed off that Shoma killed his sister, you know, the other creepy twin, and it's like, the kid does not get that because they helped kill Shoma's mom in the first place, that's why this is all happening.
Yeah, they created their own enemy.
Exactly. So, like, G not getting a single win in makes sense because they're emotionally incapable of recognizing their own problem, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with Cinder, the fact that she is impulsive, bratty, and a petulant child at times, yet, so by all marks, she should get her ass handed to her at certain junctures.
Where she just loses her cool and never gets it back, and so it spirals in the same way Adam does.
Right, but yet she still gets these wins, which feels, wait, shouldn't you have lost this encounter?
Yeah.
And you're only winning because that's when I feel like, when people talk about plot armor, I feel like it's always incorrectly applied because...
Yeah, that's why I think 4, 5, 6 is actually the best sections of RWBY, because it actually addresses these elements and problems of the characters appropriately as they're putting the status quo for the cast back together. 7, 8, 9 isn't necessarily bad, but it's where these defects with longer unaddressed elements start creeping in, even as it's working to resolve as much as they can. With just what was left unaddressed around the common room before, which the farther you get into Rooster Teeth's work, you see happening more and more as the company grew larger and they kept getting screwed over by Screenwave / Warner / Discovery. It's like Genlock Season 2, Red vs. Blue 0, and aspects of Volume 8 are kind of the breaking point for a lot of people.
I think the next, other than health mark over there.
Yeah. Not sure that'll help because of vehicle combat. And it's like, I don't even hate RWBY Volume 8. I just, like, some of the things it does are not things I am on board with. Like, Ironwood going bad. That makes sense because his psychotic breakdown was alluded to long before that. The Tin Man has no heart. That kind of stuff.
Playing into the whole, like, all these important big characters who run nations are parallels of the Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, that Lionheart guy being a cowardly son of a gun, right? And like Ironheart. I know some people didn't like Ironheart going crazy, but I legitimately think that it was handled like
The Wizard of Oz is a fraud. That kind of stuff.
Like it makes sense because.
And if you don't see the fairy tale comparisons, you kind of lose out on major aspects of how Ruby was telling its stories. But just because it has that narrative justification, there isn't ways that it was deficient. Like Emerald's heel face trick, I really liked that. She realized the scope of what she was involved in, and decided, yeah, no, I don't want part of this anymore. Like stuff like that. Those moments, those creative decisions, those are good. Splitting the Ruby team along different lines to create character development between them, that's good. But it becomes more an issue of commitment.
Right.
Where it doesn't make the show bad, but it doesn't make the show as good as it could feasibly have been. And then you just, the bad faith critics take blame at the wrong things about that entire sequence of events. Where they make it a character problem instead of a storytelling problem. And not even necessarily a storytelling problem, but the way in which they spend their focus.
In a south power station. You must locate 4 power orbs.
Before we continue with that line of discussion, DJ Toku was asking, have you ever heard of the series Curious Case of Thanatos? I have not engaged with it in any regard, but I know.
Thanatos. And I know of it, I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah. Black Century King, and we still don't know how Cinder came into contact with Salem in the first place. Also, I'm sick of how bloodthirsty people are to see her dead to a perverted degree that it's disgusting. And, like, I want to see Cinder refused. I don't want to see her dead, but because with a character like Cinder, you can't have her die because to get justice. No. You need to, like, throw her entire worldview back in her face and show how wrong she is, you know? Like,
I want her to be left with nothing, and then I think the long end game is have the Ruby team be the ones with maiden powers at the end. And if they're not going to do the angle of Ruby just silverize Salem into a statue, and then them eating her off the planet, then they needed to do the Four Maidens thing. I think those are their two exit strategies for the longer run.
Right, like...
The third option being, Cinder gets what she wants, absorbs all the main powers, which unfortunately at this point would require Winter dying and Raven dying. I don't think people have much of an issue with Raven dying at this point.
But Winter, though, people like.
Winter people like. But yeah, it's the hoisted by her own petard, she gets all 4 main powers and it destroys her. That's a legitimate ending for her character. That would be the ironic option, not necessarily the best option. I think it's just because of what we were describing before. Cinder when she shouldn't be, and it's not to a detriment, it's not a positive for the series, then maybe so people are on that angle about her. Hell, I prototyped the Ruby fanfic myself for a bit. My angle I would take with it is, Fall of Veil still happens, but Cinder dies in it, and then you bring her back as a zombie. So it's like, you can, like, handle that in a different way where she doesn't get the win, and then you can amp up the impulsiveness without really destroying the character. It's like, now she's got to hang up about it in that she keeps failing when her victories become failures.
DJ Toku, as an aside for Dom, I gotta laugh at how the fans both hate and are hot for the older sister, Glada. Yeah, remember when I was saying that the Dom could have handled his villains a lot better? Yeah. Glada is definitely an example of that, because when she showed up early on, she's a big threat and menace. She carries a sight. She has a very mommy personality. Like, but there's a large section of the show where she is sitting around doing nothing. Like, I mean, like, at least the older brother who runs this towing company is at least a CEO, so you could rationalize it as, oh, he's just busy doing stuff. But the older sister, like, what's her excuse?
Yeah. Sure, by the way, I'm the only one who still thinks Crow is actually Ruby's dad. I'm accepting of the headcanon that Crow was in love with Summer, and then Raven leaving her relationship is what led to Crow losing out on a chance with Summer.
Yeah.
Because of Summer coming in to as teen mom to then actually be mom, and then Ruby happening as a result.
Yeah.
I am also accepting of the Raven, Ty, and Summer polycule.
Yeah, that's
I know a lot of... I've seen a few of the better, like, more good faith fanfic authors try and do the Raven-Summer dynamic with Ty just being a sperm donor for the girls. And it's like, I don't like that angle because, like, Ty was there for them.
Right.
Not always mentally, emotionally after he lost both of his wives, but definitely the angle of he's the dad who stepped up and didn't take the easy option with raising them. So it's like even the good faith Ruby fandom members have their own hangups with that.
Davis Hayden, due to Cinder, what happened to Katagina and Victory Gundam? I can live with that. Only hopefully better written, because...
Yeah, Victory Gundam's a mess.
Yeah, because, the thing with Katagina was that... What was her deal? Like, no, really, I watched Victory Gundam. I could not figure out what her deal was. Like,
yeah.
Or because I get that she hated Uso, I get she had a superiority complex, but beyond that, her motivations, what her end desires were, I could not tell you.
Yeah, to the point that when I played Dynasty Warriors Gundam 2, that was my first real opportunity to get involved with Victory Gundam. I was not aware until I watched Victory Gundam for the first time that Katagina was supposed to be a bad guy. Bad girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like, she just comes off as a crazy psycho bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what she is, but it's like...
It's like, even the Gundam games and extended media that involve these other series try and skirt around that. Because, like, even they don't have a logical frame of reference for why Tamino did that.
Here, Crystal, they're apparently, he's gonna be starting the Raildex franchise on Monday.
Notice the correct order for Raildex. Technically, you should watch Return to Magical Index first, but because of how Raildex handles that, there are arcs for Raildex that occur between arcs of Index. So, watch order, I think, is Index, Railgun 1, Index 1, Railgun 2, Index 2, Railgun 3, Index 3, and then the Endymion movie occurs in the middle of both Index 2 and Railgun, and after Railgun 2. Because how you know is there is a Railgun side and an Index side for several of the arcs. There is a watch order on the wiki. That's the only thing I can recommend past that.
Dread Zone fans, now Team Darkstar will have to fight their way to the second
Rock's interesting. My problem with Raven is her fans that let her get away with everything she does. Cinder, in my opinion, needs to only learn what she's doing is pointless, but need to find an actual life. Kind of fair with that, because Raven ends up being a nihilist who doesn't believe in anything, and it's only Yank who yanks her back. A lot of the fan interpretations I see is like, yeah, we don't want to write Raven the way the show wrote her, so we're going to do something else with her.
And I think that really just comes down to the show needs to show more of Raven, so we can get a more accurate, like a more concrete, like
why she came to the decision she did, which honestly could come back into finally validating or explaining the Summer stuff, considering it might just be they learned about stuff. Raven realized it's pointless, she went back to her plan to run it, and then Summer making a similar decision is what validated her own choices. Like, there are options there. Oh, I keep forgetting I have that now.
Oh yeah, the turret gun.
Yeah.
Folks, just a reminder, tomorrow is Kick Your
We're at 2:15, so we can go
3:15 actually.
2:15 in time for time we streaming. Close this out.
By the way, thank you, chat, for being so chatty and stuff, and giving us all these questions and stuff. Like, I know, like, our opinions may not align with, like, everybody else's and stuff, but we do appreciate the engagement. Oh, and thank you for taking time out of your days to, like, watch us be dorks.
Like, our opinions are not absolute, but we try and view it from we try and validate it as best we can. That's always why I went so in-depth to stuff when I would discuss things in scripted video form. Just like, these are the justifying opinions for why I have my perspective on stuff. And it always starts from, why do I have this reaction to this thing? And often my bafflement at other people having a more extreme reaction or perpetuating a bad faith argument. Because, like, I don't get bad faith arguments in general. Like, if something has that material as faithfully true about it, then it should be on the tin. But then again, there's the contrast point of something is obvious to me and on the tin for that, and other people just don't get it. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, unfortunately. Okay, where am I going?
Terror of Death. I prefer the close quad relationship for Ty, Summer, Raven, and Crow.
Yeah. I mean, considering a lot of people like the potential of the Ruby group being a polycule, I've seen stories about that. They're not the worst written. It's like, I'm not opposed.
I mean, like, I could just see them all wind up sharing a big house together. That'd be...
To be fair, on the writers I've seen do that, they're totally against the idea of shipping Ruby with the sister. No. Well, no, that's the thing you don't do.
Yeah, you don't do that, but I can at least see them, like, being on a night, like, living together.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least having a sitcom situation where their houses are right next to each other, you know what I mean? So in effect that they you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Pure Crystal, doesn't help that people wanting to do things to Raven that isn't safe for work per se, like basically rewriting the character so they are allowed to do things not safe for work things. You know what I mean?
Have you ever seen the Diablo in the pale moonlight?
Which wouldn't be the first franchise where people
Not
like
the first.
Won't be the last.
It's like, be less.
Like, why do we all hear about it?
Yeah.
It's like, listen, if you want your characters to do not safe for work things, okay, that's fine. Like, not criticizing that. Like, we all
again with the Ruby stuff. It's why I got annoyed with anyone who tries to promote John to protagonist status, because one, that's not the show, and two, you do that just to do the harem thing with all the girls around him.
Which, like, if that's your reason, then no, you no.
Bad faith argument in the tin.
Yeah.
It's like trying to make Tuxedo Mask the protagonist of Sailor Moon. You don't do it.
Like, the show, the series isn't called Tuxedo Mask, it's called Sailor Moon.
Death, by the way, Death, like, I'm thinking of moving to Illinois after I finish my teaching degree and get my teaching license. Was wondering if you had any area recommendations. I lived in one area of Chicago called Jefferson Park. It's kind of an immigrant area. I can only really suggest that if you do move to Illinois, you get, well, first of all, I read a recent thing where they're keeping open a lot of schools with very low student populations, so there might not be the best job opportunities. But definitely public transportation would be a plus if you could get near an area where that is viable. There are pretty decent bus routes. The CTA lines, the CTA transit lines are actually pretty well developed throughout it, as long as you know where to go. If you end up using a CTA line for anything, don't bring your vehicle into the areas where the buses would be parking, because the CTA officers working there really do not like that.
Yeah, they take their job seriously. But honestly, like, on a personal side, for those who aren't aware, I was born in Maryland, and I was an East Coast girl for, like, the longest time. But then, 7 years ago, I moved out here to the Midwest, and it's actually a pretty nice place to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, expect higher taxes, depending on what state you're coming from. That's just an Illinois thing. They pay for a lot of stuff, so the budget is balanced in the state. Just plan for it.
Yeah.
People, I am beside myself, and boy, do I look good. And so does Ratchet. We just might have a competitor.
DJ Toka, I might be shooting myself in the foot with this, but I think John and Pyro would have been really cool if that happened. Technically, it did happen, it just didn't last.
Because,
I am not above fanfic authors avoiding Pyro dying. That's actually one of the more popular ones I don't have any issues with.
Because that's, what if the strong, pretty one survived is always a popular...
It's not just that, it's like, the near-death experience forcing their relationship forward can also allow for the character development for John that would follow from as well.
Yeah, but,
so yeah, I don't have an issue with that AU.
Each checkpoint he passes earns him a few extra seconds.
Oh, one of these, but for a ship out here.
Yeah, now I gotta deal with this in 3 dimensions. Damn it. Yeah, this is gonna suck. Completely, because I lost track of where the rings are.
What I want to know is how Ratchet uses the bathroom in that suit.
Yeah. Plus me needing to figure out how to increase and decrease my elevation. There we go.
Terror Death, they're from Florida.
Oh.
Yeah, no, trust me.
No arguments.
No arguments. Getting out of Florida, totally understand. You
will have difficulties adjusting to the temperature in winter. Heads up on that.
But, my God, you're... Like, I'm not trying to...
No, I know how... I've been getting told how bad it is for teachers in Florida.
Yeah, so... You're gonna, like... Yeah, Midwest is gonna be much kinder.
Yeah. Also, conventions aren't the best comparison to... Did the game just freeze on me?
No. Please don't.
Yeah, game just crashed.
Oops.
Look, either the timer's gonna run out, or something else is gonna happen. Yeah. Here, Chris, anyways, I know Genlock was screwed over. Oh yeah, that's a video that people should watch if they haven't. Mr. Cheese? Mr. Cheese.
Mr. Cheese, he did a great video discussing, like, how terrible Genlock is. And he did mention that the first season was bad, but it was salvageable. There was merit there. And then season 2 happened.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that the lead of season 2 of Genlock at the time literally had a quote in an art book saying, unlike other mecha anime, ours is about the characters. Like, unironically
doing the meme that people ridicule every time it's stated because every mecha series is about a mix of the characters and the robots.
Right, but then Genlock season 2's ending. Oh god. Oh god.
I generally think the new writers for the show did not understand what they were doing.
I mean, thank God for auto saves.
Yeah. Let me try for a reset. Thank you, PS3, for making that easy. So either way, we got a corrupted file, in which case I'll have to replay a bunch of stuff, or we'll just have to call it here.
We'll find out shortly. Also, I don't care what anybody else says, deep dish pizza is totally pizza in my book.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a thick pizza, like...
Yeah, 2 places to try for deep dish pizza in the Chicagoland area. One is Giordano's, they're the bigger chain of the two. The second is Eduardo's. Eduardo's used to be much bigger than it is, but then, like, they had a bunch of store closures. There used to be one in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which I grew up with. Unfortunately, by the time we got... Alexis and John over here, they had closed the Milwaukee one. And I think just that challenge wasn't completable, so it moved me on to the next section of the game.
This super cool Ace Hardlight action figure with Kung Fu grip. Wow. Ouch! Hey, what's a big idea?
Subject 136. Choose one.
Oh, gardening gears. Ouch! Hey.
Much interesting. The problem with Genlock in the first place was it was made by Roman's old VA, who made it by taking most of the budget for Ruby. Not most of the budget, it was animation time. He was taking animation time from other productions and making the animation crews work overtime to get Genlock done.
I don't know. Maybe that Lombax guy.
Or if the budget thing was a thing, then it was after Mr. Cheese made his video, and that's a different scandal.
Subject 130.
But yeah, the Crunch, the Ruby animators, not the Ruby, just the Rooster Teeth animators in general came to be under later on. It's just like, no.
DJ Toku, so is legit Chicago pizza really that good? Okay, I'm the pizza queen here. Okay, you need a silence. So Chicago deep dish keeps getting ragged on by supposed pizza purists that it's not something that you can easily pick up and fold.
Especially New York pizza enthusiasts, which I like New York pizza, but it's distinctly different. You can like both.
Right. And the thing about Chicago deep dish that I love is that it is a hearty meal. Yes, it requires a knife and fork to eat, but that should not be a disqualifier for something being a pizza or not. People can have eaten pizza, right? Like New York style pizza with knives and forks before. I mean, they're looked down upon for doing it, but like whatever. But
yeah,
the
everybody at some point has eaten pizza with a knife and fork.
But the thing I love about deep dish is that you can just fill it with so many different ingredients. You can put cheese, pepperoni, sausage, peppers. Like, it's like you are getting a feast right there. If you ever get a Chicago deep dish pizza, you don't order a big, large one like what you're typically accustomed to for a New York style. Get yourself maybe like a medium or a small.
Or a smallish medium.
I set you up for that.
Me up.
Because just a 2 or 3 slices of a deep dish can fill you up. Well, that's great because then you can have leftovers, and those leftovers can be heated up very well, and then congratulations, you got more food.
And it's like, even the knife and fork thing is a little exaggerated. It's only required if you get it when it's freshest, and when it's the most hot. You let it cool down a bit, you simmer it, you can just eat it by the slice like regular pizza. It's just a bit thicker. It's like pan pizza, but increased thickness where it's less the crust that's thick, and it's all the ingredients put together. It's extra thick.
Right. It just requires,
there we go.
Listen, I love pizza. It's like one of my favorite foods. So when people started badmouth deep dish, I'm like, listen, you need to shut the fuck up right now, because
but here's one thing we can agree on: Michigan style?
Detroit style.
Detroit style. That's a no.
No. Here's the thing. Detroit style has a place, I feel, because at least that's coming from a... Like, what if you took a pan pizza, but had the crust be, like, burnt cheese, essentially? That's what Detroit style is. Like, I can get that. No, the true sin of pizza, in my opinion, is pineapple on pizza.
It's like, I think... my thing with Detroit style is them putting the pizza sauce on like a dressing.
Right, now that part I can. That I can understand.
Yeah, no, that's my criticism. Like, that's not a pizza. That's cheesy bread with additional toppings, and you put the dish of marinara sauce you're dipping it in on top. It's like, no.
Now, by the way, what I'm gonna pay great money to see? I want to see C2 do a pizza review show. Like, that should have been how Code Geass ended. Like, hi, welcome to C2's food review show. Today we're reviewing... Like, she just goes to various pizza restaurants and reviews the shit out of them.
There's a reason I did the Cafe AU Lelouch Callan CC picture as the end, in the end credits of that, at the end of that montage.
Right, because, like, listen, you have a green-haired gremlin witch who's immortal, and you never had her try deep dish. Like, I want to see her hot take. I need to, like, see, like...
Her hot take is that's not a pizza, that's a casserole.
And then that's when I have the fist fight a green-haired witch. Like, I'd be like, alright, that's it, let's go.
But, like, that's a legitimate joke you can make with deep dish pizza.
No, there's actually a pizza type from Philadelphia or Pennsylvania that we need to stop. It's the one where they put American cheese on top of it.
Like, as in the Kraft slices or American cheddar? Because I did 4 cheese pizzas just fine, but cheddar is instead of completely replacing mozzarella, no. Like, that screws with the taste.
That plow is my friend.
Oh, yeah, I found it. Altoona style pizza. That's what its name was. Like, I'm just gonna show you an image of this, and, yeah.
That's a pizza burger. No. 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 No.
Yeah, like, when I said American cheese, I don't mean American cheddar. I mean...
American slices.
Yeah.
It's like... No. Don't jar, I think it's spread something of strawberries on pizza. That I can kind of guess. Just the level of sweetness that'd be involved there.
Or like dessert pizzas are a thing.
Yeah, dessert pizzas are also a thing.
I don't know what it is about pineapple on pizza, because Taro Jets correctly said that people who...
I think it's because pineapple is a salty fruit, so it doesn't complement well necessarily.
Like, what do you do with ham? Like ham and pineapple on pizza, that's Hawaiian style, and that makes some semblance of sense. But if you were to just put straight pineapple on a pizza, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But even then, that's ridiculously salty.
Right, like, why would you do that?
Terror would deep dish even exist in the Code Geass timeline?
If
pizza does?
I mean, pizza... Well, no, here's the thing, they do pan pizzas, but if deep dish does not exist in the Code Geass timeline, that's how we know that Britannia needs to be taken down.
I mean, that's a legitimate AU possibility, considering the origins of pizza in America.
Right, so... imagine going to the Code Geass timeline and going, man, I can't wait to eat a deep dish. What's a deep dish pizza?
It implies that the conditions, timeline-wise, for pizza to be invented, aka Great Depression, because of course Great Depression foods, would still happen.
David Tannen, there's actually a pizza place in my old hometown that had a really good pizza that has a pepperoni on it and cheese.
No, I love it when places do that. There's a lot of places that do that, and that's a really good thin crust, but not thin crust style pizza.
shows a hover bike up ahead.
It's an
But
it's
you
an
will have to
underrated art.
deactivate a force field to gain access to it.
That's over.
Like, pizza means so much to me because, like, it was always, like, the comfort food at, like, when I was at home, and it was, like, you know, either pizza night, or I had a really rough day, so I would just get myself a pizza from the local, restaurant, Sorrento's, and, oh, by the way, I am so sad with what's happened to my favorite pizza chain, my pizza restaurant.
Worse than closing down?
No, it has not closed down. You see, folks, in the restaurant business, there are three things that can happen, primarily. Like, life has many different avenues for what can happen to a restaurant, but one of three things will happen. One, your pizza restaurant remains family owned and operated, and it's a success for many generations to come. That's the ideal scenario. Two, it closes, which it sucks when that happens, but it's in various economies, and for one reason or the other, that can happen. Or three, it gets under new management.
Oh no.
And my local pizza restaurant, Sorrento's, in the small town that I grew up in Maryland, had new managers, new owners in the last few years. One of the recent menu additions that they added to a pizza restaurant, I stress this with emphasis, a pizza restaurant loaded nachos.
I mean, as a side, I can understand it, but why though?
Exactly. And you see, if there's one thing I've experienced with so many different pizza restaurants, is that you have to stick to your guns, because I can understand, like, the pizza place across the street. They have subs and Italian dishes and French and other stuff.
The ones by us, not.
Yeah.
It's because it's an Italian restaurant that also does pizza.
Right, which that makes sense, right? But a pizza restaurant should have no business going into a completely separate food category. You know what I mean?
Well, nachos are easy. It's just you buy the chips and then you add melted cheese onto it. And if it's loaded, that means you added a few other toppings that might be in the store already. But it's like the overcommitment.
Exactly. This is also on top of the fact that this place is now doing breakfast stuff too.
Oh, okay. The breakfast break, or it's like operate the store for longer, justifies the rent, but it also means you have to diversify what's made there even further than what would already be available.
Yeah, so when I saw that, my heart sank, because that's when I knew, oh, it's not the same place I used to go to.
It's like our Wendy's stores in general have a breakfast menu now, because just operating for lunch and dinner times isn't enough to validate the rent for the stores. A lot of restaurants are becoming like that now, but then you also have the problem of you need to be staffed there for longer, which means even higher overhead costs.
And also, you're overextending yourself. Like, if you ever, folks, if you ever go into your favorite local restaurant, and if you see their menu being a bit small but focused, then that's good. But next time you go into a restaurant where the menu is like a bajillion different things, and you have to have a pamphlet to, like, that looks like a religious text, just pay attention to that, because, like, if you ever see that, there's not a single chance that any of the other stuff besides pizza on that list are good. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like, it's like, oh, we're going to our pizza restaurant, we do subs, we do salads, we do, breakfast stuff, we do,
like, Giordano's technically does that, and the Rosati's by us does that. But, like, it's still in the proper oeuvre.
Right.
Is this a race? I don't know if this is a race. You're supposed to be shooting that drone? I think I'm supposed to be shooting that drone.
Yeah, I think that's what you're supposed to do. Black Century King, breakfast would be good if it wasn't for the fact that not everyone knows how to make it well. Exactly, that's the thing. if you're a restaurant that specializes in all those different dishes and can pull it off, that's awesome. You found that you know what you're doing. Not everybody knows how to do that though. That's the problem.
Yeah. Pizza Hut have cookie pizzas now. Okay, how do you do cookie pizzas? Well, you see, we just put this pre-made cookie mix into a pizza dish. Okay, that's simple enough. We can do that. It's a dessert option. Easy thing to do. It's like, but beyond that, there's angles you can diversify correctly, and others you just shouldn't venture into. It's like the idea of diversity is important, but not all diversity is good.
Yep. DJ Toku, you think C2 has ever had a pizza calzone? That's the other thing, yeah. Like, has that bitch ever eaten a calzone? I think that would blow her mind. It's like, C2, have you had a calzone before? What's a calzone? Takes a pizza, folds it over. Now imagine that.
Rather, rephrase my last statement. Diversity is important and needed, but not all inclusion is appropriate in context.
Or to quote Jurassic Park, you're so busy wondering if you
could, you didn't consider if you should. Jeff Goldblum is underrated for that.
Yeah. And like, I would just love C2 being her mind blown by a calzone or a stromboli. Like, so you mean to tell me that you could take a pizza, fold it over, essentially, seal it up, and put even more goodness inside of it?
What do you produce for pizzas?
That's a story I want to know. Like, who taught her that?
Again, this is why I emphasize why CC is more story device, because there are these easy avenues with which to explore her character, and they don't even pretend to.
Like, imagine a story about C2, like, exploring the world as an immortal for the first time, and then her sharing a slice of pizza with somebody that actually showed her kindness.
Yeah, whereas the little they spend on her, it makes sense if she wasn't supposed to be that important or material a character to the tale in comparison to everybody else. Instead, everybody ends up with half noted on their characterization because it doesn't spend the time it needs to validate them in the levels of importance that the story requires.
Terror of Death, calzones are amazing, especially with mushrooms and Italian sausage.
I miss when Pizza Hut would do pizzones.
I know, right?
Like, they take so many of their good things off the menus and then replace them with inferior products.
Where are my goddamn garlic knots? I miss them.
Oh, there's nothing there. The ship is hidden. It could take days.
Pizza rolls, too. It's like, there was a time where you could just order all sides and have a really satisfying meal from that.
I can triangulate the beacons to locate the ship.
Completely off topic. Kira Crystal, I like Ash and Serena and Pokemon.
Fair. No arguments.
Yeah. I would also make calzones all the time back in Maryland.
Like, the Ash Serena thing makes sense because Serena was interested in Ash in that way. Before that point, it was like a Misty May debate.
Oh, if you didn't hear me, chat, I thought May was cuter.
Everybody's pee-pee because we're not breaking.
I'm not dissing Misty by any stretch. I'm just saying that I could, like, I think May had more of a dynamic.
She had a story arc to her. I think that's the biggest deal.
Exactly.
Whereas Misty was a companion.
DJ Toku, to me, C2 learned pizza in some form from, like, Da Vinci movie Kid from Quick. Like, I'm just imagining C2 wandering the world and stumbling across, like, important food-related events. But, like, not realizing, like, that what she's taking a part in. Evil C2 would be like, no, I hate pizza, only salads. That's how you would know if she was replaced by a replicant. KC2, what do you want for Pizza Hut tonight? Oh, I don't want any Pizza Hut. I only want salads. Who the f are you?
Keep forgetting R1 is the fire button. I got so used to using circle to shoot that I keep forgetting that that's actually how it's supposed to be done in this game.
Here, Crystal, now I have this image of C2 and Dante from Devil May Cry sharing some pizza. Thanks a lot. You're welcome. My job is to give other people brain rot. If I'm not giving you brain rot, then I'm not doing my job well enough.
Has Nagami ever been involved in the Devil May Cry project?
I need to look this up.
Because I feel like she might have been typecast as Trisha Lady.
She was Patty Lowell in the Devil May Cry animated series.
It counts. Good enough.
She was an heiress and I think a one-off character, but she was involved. Here, Crystal, if you're commenting on the game freezing sometimes, that's probably because he's switching his weapons.
Yeah.
Team Darkstar is in rare form tonight.
Also, might just be like the upload rates with YouTube sometimes, or the capture card not liking I'm doing this on a PS3. PS3 does not play nice with capture cards.
Logaro, also obligatory screw shake card.
Yep.
Lady did not deserve that.
Yeah. Because, like, what he wanted to do might have been fine had he not started, changing so many other things to ruin Lady's character by proxy.
Like, I once saw a video review of the Devil May Cry reboot game, and how, like, there are many people that, like, just because the original Devil May Cry games were simple to discuss, that doesn't mean that there was no depth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's the, like, I can describe Devil May Cry 3 may be a very simple story, but, like, there's, like, subtext and themes going on there, especially, like, with, like, how Lady's character was first introduced.
It's like her being a badass demon killer and choosing to attack Dante because he is technically a demon and she doesn't know any better about him being different for them because all demons are hostile. So, again, valid until Dante earns her trust.
Yeah,
that all works, and then recharacterize that so demons are allegory for immigrants, and then suddenly it doesn't work because then she's being racist.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't change the lady's character, you change the context around her character, and that's what makes it not work. Also weakening Dante so he doesn't just shrug off what she does to him. Because it's funny when he just shrugs off all the damage she deals to him, it's not funny when it actually hurts.
After this, I'm gonna head to the store.
Yeah. I think we'll just finish this mission and wrap up.
Yeah. But again, a very engaging stream we've had here today, and I'm really glad that you all decided to stick around for this long.
And to be fair, these are shorter ones than what we tend to go for. Like, we'll be doing long ones for Time Stranger.
Oh, yeah, for sure, but it's just, like, honestly, like, in a perfect world, we would be streaming games on and off every other day and stuff, and, like...
More regularly. Hell,
yeah.
If the events we expect to happen in the next couple of years happen, that'll probably be a thing.
Because, like, I do love sitting around and nerding out about my favorite things and answering questions from gaming people.
I'm glad we didn't have to get yelly this time.
Yeah.
Okay, this was unfortunate.
So that's where the ship was.
They just have this one last one here, I'm hoping.
Unfortunately for Ace's ego, Team
Or we'll see if we can pause and save.
I'll answer this one last question from DJ Toku. What do you think the other mains of Kogiya's fave foods are? No, here's the better question I think we should
I think there have been a few character bits where they get involved in that. I remember Callan's being hamburgers.
You know what? I'm going to allow it because I can kind of see her being a burger girl.
Yeah.
She would probably make a mean smash burger.
Fan of 66. Netflix DMC's feel shows Shally more so than DMC. DMC, honestly, I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt, but then I heard how the Netflix creator thought the franchise was dead even after DMC.
Oh, yeah, like, so apparently Adi Shankar was all like, oh, Devil May Cry is a dead franchise. Devil May Cry 5 happens and sells a lot of money.
Yeah. It's like, every time Shankar opens his mouth with an opinion on something, it is the objectively most wrong thing you could ever say about a franchise. Oh, the Power Rangers are not about the battle of good versus evil. The Morphin Grid is literally created by the conflict of good versus evil.
It's like...
people might not agree with my opinions, as Cure Crystal said earlier, because of their own positions on things. A.D. Shankar is consistently objectively wrong about things. It's like, I have valid viewpoints on stuff. Other people have valid viewpoints on stuff. A.D. Shankar every time he opens his mouth shows he doesn't understand these things despite evidence that contradicts his position.
Like, it's like, as much as we rag on Suzaku from Code Geass and we have our reasons for not liking the guy, there are, like...
I made my legitimate argument on why he's a villain.
Right, exactly. But it's like, you know, we have our opinions on that, but, like, then there's, like, certain...
Because it's presented in the material itself to have that perspective.
Right. What I'm trying to say is that there are times where there's a difference between a difference in opinion and saying something objectively wrong.
Objectively false from the material itself.
Right, like saying,
And that's what we talk about when we say bad faith arguments. The material itself disproves the argument you are making.
Right, like, if you could, there is a case, if you could make a case for a character being a hero or a villain in his story, then the material should it should have the stuff needed, the material needed to prove one way or the other. But if you were to say something like, the Power Rangers is all about child soldiers thing, like, where the hell did you get that idea from?
I mean, Super Sentai's technically super soldiers, but that's
right,
outworld context where they're recruited to be a special defense team in the Japanese sense. you're recruiting people to be soldiers in the front line of a war, and then you're going off to assault the opposing position.
Right.
And that don't happen.
And if you're only and if Adi Shankar's only basis for the child soldier thing was just Justin from Turbo, that's the exception that proves the.
Yeah, and the entire reason that was just like, well, we want to get child audiences back, so we'll introduce a child character, and that's an innocent perspective about audiences, not something the show was actually saying itself. It was a bad idea to do it, but not in the ways that Shankar promotes. And it's those kinds of things where you don't put it in context to what was being done around it.
Yeah, but so that'll be it for us today on this stream. I don't think we're gonna do it next week because of how things are.
Yeah, Alexis works next Friday, so we can't do Friday streams, and then all three of us, John, Alexis, and I, have off Thursday, and so since that is extremely rare outside of the months we try and schedule it to do Final Fantasy XIV, we figure we're just going to do a movie night, so we're basically going to skip streaming next week.
Right. So with that, we're going to be ending it here. Thank you all for watching. Watch Symphogear, read Undead Unluck,
Watch Red Ranger Isekai if you haven't already. The show is amazing. I want a season 2.
Yep. And that's us signing off.
Yep. Later, guys.
Later.